Chapter 720. Norma woke up slowly, but the moment she opened her eyes, she suddenly saw Prague's hideous face. She had never seen before, but she recognized it at first glance. "I'm going to kill you. It's all because of you. It's all because of you. You killed me. I'm going to kill you," Prague yelled, brandishing his claws. Norma, don't be scared. I'm here to save you." Just then, Louis rushed in from outside and sent Prague flying with a punch. Just like that, Louis pressed Prague to the ground. One punch, and another. Prague pushed Louis away and flew out of the balcony. Louis finally stopped and didn't chase after him. "Uncle." Norma jumped into Louis's arms. Louis was unprecedentedly satisfied. "Don't be scared. I'll always protect you." Norma didn't see Prague fly away from the balcony. A vine wrapped around him and dragged him to the ground. A group of people surrounded Prague and started punching and kicking him. You said you'd let me go after this," Prague screamed. "Who let you run?" Warrencom shouted. "Who let you run last night? Give me back $1 million. Chunzhao and Feilai didn't care at all. They were playing with their pets on the lawn. In the afternoon, Chunzhao, Feilai, and the members of the supernatural organization returned to Los Angeles. "President, I think we missed someone." On the plane, West came to Chunzhao's side. "Really? Aduz went out to play for a day yesterday. He didn't come back last night." Chunzhao slapped his head. "Right, Aduz. Whatever. Let Louis take care of him and give Aduz a few more days off. When he's done playing, we'll send him back." The plane landed safely. After a long journey, everyone felt a sense of relief when they returned to land. On the way home, Chunzhao received a call from Winnip. "Hey, Chun." "Yeah? Daydream's going on show today." "Then let it be." Chunzhao didn't care. "I'm just telling you. Nothing else." "Sacramento Park, Mr. Alton. The government will be in charge of security, right?" Winnip asked. "Of course, there's absolutely no problem. I've already hired a security consultant from Blackwater." Alton patted his chest. At that moment, Alton saw a helicopter flying over their heads with something dangling below it. "What is that?" "A super safe provided by Tonghui," Winnip said. The safe slowly landed on the ground. Then, the staff came over to check if the safe was working properly. Finally, under the protection of a large number of guards and security, Daydream arrived. Daydream was put into the safe. The safe weighed 2 tons, and the 4 corners of the safe were nailed to the ground. On top of it was a glass cover that could withstand the close-range explosion of TNT. Below it was a mechanical mechanism. Once the glass cover was attacked, it would activate. The mechanism would be activated and Daydream would be kept in the metal safe below. "Debugging complete. Boss, come over and set the password," Howard said. "Done." After setting the password, Winnip nodded at Alton. It was time for the park to open. A large number of tourists swarmed into the park. Sacramento Park was a public park on weekdays, but the number of visitors was quite low. Almost no one would come here to play. But today, the first batch of tourists reached 1,000. "Is that a daydream? Is this bottle really worth 100 million? Maybe it's just an empty bottle, but this bottle is really beautiful. What material is it made of?" It wasn't just the tourists. Even a few TV stations came. They were all hired by Alton. They kept filming Daydream on the safe. There was also the live host introducing the information about Daydream without stopping. At this moment, a gunshot rang out without warning. A group of armed terrorists attacked. The scene was chaotic. After the terrorists fired again, the tourists finally realized something. "Don't move." Dozens of tourists couldn't escape. They were surrounded by the terrorists. There were security guards at the scene, but they didn't dare to open fire in such a chaotic situation. Just then, the police arrived very quickly. After all, these terrorists were brazenly attacking a public place. The entire park was surrounded. "People inside, listen up. You've been surrounded. Put down your weapons immediately and surrender." The police's announcement didn't make the terrorists put down their weapons. What they got in response was the sound of machine guns. "Boss, the safe can't be opened." "It can't be opened? Why can't it be opened?" That safe is the latest design from Tonghui Company. The program can't be opened at all. Fuck. The mercenary leader's face darkened. He turned to look at a reporter. The camera was still on. Who's broadcasting? The mercenary leader asked. None of the reporters dared to answer his question. Call your TV station boss immediately. Tell him to start the live broadcast immediately. Huh. Now, immediately, right now. The guns were aimed at the reporters and hosts. They could only make the call obediently. Boss, what do you want to do? The mercenary didn't understand. The TV station quickly replied. Start the live broadcast. They had to start the live broadcast. This was big news and they weren't there. Why didn't they start the live broadcast? Sir, our TV station has started the live broadcast. Me too. Me too. The mercenary leader finally nodded in satisfaction. Can I speak now? Turn the camera over. This is my first time on TV. I wonder how many people can see me. The mercenary leader said to the camera, I'm going to call the boss of Mara Supermarket, Madam Winnip. If she doesn't appear in 10 minutes, I'll start shooting the hostages. The countdown starts now. Winnip was also watching the live broadcast. Howard, Kareem, and Kane's expressions darkened. Boss, you can't go. These people kill without batting an eye. Yes, it's too dangerous. We can't go. Yes, we have to go. Winnip's expression was cold. They're starting the live broadcast to force me to appear. If I don't, I'll become everyone's target. Then our supermarket's reputation will be ruined. Chapter 7:21. Winnip shook her head. I have to go. Howard, Kareem, and Kane couldn't stop Winnip, so they could only go with her. Winnip went to the periphery of the scene and said with a megaphone, I'm here. What do I have to do for you to release the hostages? Miss Winnip, our target is just this bottle of wine. Tell me the password, or I'll shoot the hostages. Winnip was silent for a while. I can tell you the password, but you have to ensure the safety of the hostages. Winnip actually didn't care about the hostages' safety, but it was a live broadcast. As a businesswoman, she had to think about maximizing profits at all times. Of course, I promise you that as long as the wine is here, the hostages will be safe. The password is G456M54542S1FSH3Y. It was a random password without any pattern. Boss, the safe's password is open. Don't open it yet, the mercenary leader said. Put on your gas mask. The moment the safe was opened, the smell of wine filled the air. In an instant, everyone around them was drunk. The mercenary leader picked up Daydream and licked his lips. Is this Daydream? Even through the bottle and wearing a gas mask, I can still smell the wine in the bottle. The aroma of the wine started to spread. Soon, everyone in the park was drunk. The audience in front of the TV was dumbfounded. Was this wine or poisonous gas? The smell was too scary. Just then, a helicopter stopped in the sky. Let's go. The mercenaries all boarded the helicopter. The helicopter took off. The audience in front of the TV watched them leave. But just then, the helicopter suddenly exploded in the air. Then, the flames mixed with the strong aroma of wine spread out completely. Then it spread in all directions with the wind. Smells so good. What's that smell? Is it the smell of wine? Where did the wine smell come from? This smell is so nostalgic. Whose wine is this? Why do I feel like crying? The entire Sacramento was filled with the smell of wine. More people knew where the aroma of the wine came from. It was that bottle of Daydream, but more people found it unbelievable. The aroma of a bottle of wine actually covered the entire city. Those who were drunk in the park were all sent to the hospital. When ambulances arrived at the scene, they had to wear gas masks. However, after these people were examined in the hospital, they found that they had no signs of poisoning at all. Every one of them was very healthy. The United States was in an uproar. A bottle of wine had triggered a terrorist attack. A bottle of wine broke the hearts of the entire city. Fuck, that's my wine. It's my Daydream. Fuck. Madala was in front of the TV, which he had smashed in his rage. But now this bottle of wine was gone. It was supposed to be his, but now it was shared by the entire city. As the mayor of Sacramento, Alton didn't know whether he should be happy or sad. It had been a day since the incident, but the impact of the incident was still there. Hundreds of thousands of tourists were rushing to Sacramento. The number of tourists increased by 100 times in the past. But now, Winnip was demanding compensation from the city. $100 million worth of wine was shattered just like that. But the city really couldn't afford it. Mr. Alton, your government must pay for our supermarket's losses. Winnip barged into Alton's office. Ms. Winnip, this isn't the government's fault. You were the one who said that you were fully prepared. But what happened? Winnip said relentlessly, in the end, you let so many armed robbers break into the exhibition. You were responsible for the security, but my people didn't do anything wrong. At least in the end, if the robbers hadn't threatened with the hostages, they wouldn't have had a chance to get the wine. I saved the hostages. Actually, after this incident, Mara Supermarket's name was already imprinted in the hearts of all Sacramento people. After all, Winnip had lost $100 million to save the hostages. So Winnip actually didn't lose anything. In fact, it could even be said that she earned. No one was a fool, but this loss was obvious. Thus, Winnip could rightfully demand compensation from the city government. The city government can't afford that much money. Alton was planning to act shamelessly now. He had no choice. $100 million. Even the city government of an international metropolis like Los Angeles might not be able to afford that much. Mr. Alton, are you planning to refuse compensation? I can't afford that much anyway. Even if you kill me, I won't be able to. Then, for the next bottle of Daydream, which is also the last bottle, I'll consider appearing in other cities. I promise that it will never return to Sacramento. Daydream's name seemed to be inlaid with gold. Who didn't know that Daydream was a true godly wine? According to preliminary research, more than 10,000 people had cried yesterday. Crying people could be seen everywhere on the streets. And the topic of Daydream didn't decrease. Instead, it became more and more popular. Even experts and scholars came to discuss the magic of this bottle of wine. They also used a scientific perspective to try to unravel the secret within. Because of yesterday's incident, how much profit did Sacramento bring? A city with less than 500,000 people now had more than 200,000 tourists every day. Now, almost every street was building hotels and hotels to satisfy the number of tourists. Sacramento Park, in particular, had become a popular attraction. The strong smell of wine still lingered there, especially at the scene of the helicopter crash. Although the corpses had been cleared, the wreckage of the helicopter was still there. That place became a must-go place for everyone. Everyone who went there would cry. Because of this, Sacramento gained the reputation of being the city of wine. Compared to yesterday, the smell of wine was fainter, but people could still feel the touching aroma. If Winnip announced that Daydream would leave Sacramento due to the irresponsibility of the city government, then Sacramento would suffer a great loss. So Alton couldn't offend Winnip at this time. Ms. Winnip, let's talk. Don't be so agitated. Sit down first and let's talk. Chapter 7:22. Then tell me, how are we going to solve this? Winnip was aggressive. She had the upper hand now. She didn't need to care about Alton's feelings at all. Even if he was unhappy, he had to hold it in. The city really can't afford $100 million. Not now and not in the future. The city's annual budget was no more than $5 million. How could they afford $100 million? So you're going to be shameless? Winnip had just sat down when she immediately jumped up again. Sit down, sit down. I said I'm not trying to be irresponsible. Alton also had a headache now. He couldn't afford $100 million no matter what. But no matter what, he had to calm Winnip down first. After all, Winnip's influence wasn't just limited to being a businessman. She had an extremely high reputation in Sacramento. Now, all the citizens of Sacramento went to Mara Supermarket to buy things. This caused the other supermarkets to close down. 90% of the citizens of Sacramento went to Mara Supermarket. 99% of the tourists who came to Sacramento were there for Mara supermarkets. The other supermarkets had less than 10% of the citizens. How could they survive? Couldn't be helped. Mara Supermarket's reputation was too great. Also, because of Mara Supermarket and Daydream, how many benefits did it bring to the citizens? If Winnip said that she wanted to run for mayor, Alton would probably be fired immediately. If Alton chased Mara Supermarket away now, he would be beaten to death by the furious citizens when he walked out of the city hall, let alone continue being the mayor. The land in White Coral Street. I can help you with that land. You said last time that you might not be able to help. No, you remembered wrong. I said definitely. I can definitely do it. What about the price? Half for sale, half for free. Alton had no choice now. He could only clench his teeth and promise. No matter what, he had to calm Winnip down now. Fine, we'll stop here for today, but this doesn't mean it's over. Before I get a definite answer, I'll keep the right to pursue this. Hey, Chen, Winnip called him. Winnip, did you arrange that? Chun Zhao had communicated with Winnip beforehand, but he didn't know what arrangements Winnip had made. Actually, I arranged half of it. What do you mean? I did arrange people, but I didn't arrange them, Winnip said. Chun Zhao was completely speechless. How could there be such a coincidence? I installed a remote-controlled bomb in Daydream's bottle, but I didn't expect that this group of people would actually take a helicopter. But the effect was even better than what I had planned. All right, since they were real robbers, Chun Zhao didn't want to say anything else. By the way, I plan to set the price at $1 billion next time. Suit yourself. When are you coming to get the wine? Right now, I'm being watched by a lot of people. No matter who I send to get the wine, it's not safe. It's best if you bring the wine over yourself. Last time, because no one knew about Daydream's existence, Winnip sent Kareem, Howard, and Kane. It was very safe. But it was different now. Winnip and the people around her were being watched closely. People from all walks of life wanted to know where Daydream came from. According to Kareem and the other two, there were a few people standing next to them when they went to the washroom. It wasn't just rich people who wanted to know where Daydream came from. Even the government wanted to know. After all, a bottle of Daydream had created the current Sacramento. The reputation of Fragrant Wine City brought intangible wealth to Sacramento. These benefits weren't directly distributed to anyone, but the citizens of Sacramento could clearly feel it. With more tourists, the number of jobs increased correspondingly. The number of people at the tourist attractions also increased. The governments of other cities obviously wanted the same effect, especially the second and third-tier cities. Most of them were like Sacramento in a very awkward position. They didn't have any resources or tourist attractions. Of course, they also wanted to use Sacramento's opportunistic method. Steven's celebrity effect was also very obvious. Now everyone knew why Steven was willing to spend $100 million for this bottle of wine. Because of this, Chun Zhao had to personally deliver Daydream. It wasn't safe for anyone to take the wine. It was safest for Chun Zhao to deliver it himself. However, Chun Zhao didn't stay in Sacramento. He took a plane back. On the second day after Daydream was delivered, Winnip and Mara Supermarket announced the news. The second bottle, which was also the last bottle of Daydream in the world, arrived. However, this bottle would be protected by the insurance company. Because of its uniqueness, the price was $999,999,999. But this was only the price. More importantly, this bottle only had a price, not a sale. Winnip also claimed that this bottle of Daydream wasn't just the last bottle of Daydream. It was also more perfect than the first bottle. This bottle could make the entire city drunk. Every year, there would be an aroma tasting event. The first aroma tasting event would be held in 3 days. This event was the result of Winnip and Orton's discussion. White Coral Street would be sold to Winnip at a low price. Winnip would, of course, return the favor. This event would be held in Sacramento's largest stadium. For this event, millions of people flooded into Sacramento. This was already more than the entire population of Sacramento. Even if they couldn't afford to drink Daydream, they could at least smell the wine. Not only were all the hotels and motels in Sacramento full, but the surrounding cities were the same. Almost all the TV stations in America were gathered in Sacramento, wanting to see this grand event. Suddenly, Chun Zhao received a transfer of $6 million. The recipient was Winnip. Winnip, what's this money? The fee for the TV station's broadcast rights. This is yours. Okay. This was an unexpected fortune. Isn't the broadcasting fee for those sports games hundreds of millions of dollars? I think the scale of this wine tasting event is huge. Why is the price so low? Chapter 723. Fine, Chun Zhao was satisfied with the $6 million. He wouldn't get this much every year if he did it properly. He couldn't get 100 million or 1 billion in one go, but it was good to keep it going. It wasn't bad to keep it going. In the past few days, Chun Zhao had been studying the Black Key. It seemed that evil spirits could use it directly. Of course, the way they used it might not necessarily be the correct way, but at least it gave Chun Zhao an idea. Blackie, pull my soul out of my body. I can't do that. Blackie shook his head. You're a living person. I can't pull a living person's soul out of their body directly. You can't do anything? I can't, but I heard that there's a spell in the East that can make your soul leave your body. Chun Zhao's heart jumped. Li Qing? Chun Zhao immediately got in the car. Maybe she had a way. Seeing Chun Zhao come in, Ethan went up and kicked him. Fuck. How long has it been since you last came? Ignoring Ethan's kick, Chun Zhao picked up the hamburger on the table. Where's Auntie Li? Upstairs. Didn't you come to find me? Of course I came to see you. Otherwise, why would I bring you a present? Chun Zhao put a bottle of purple brew on the table. Ethan picked it up. Is this wine? Fuck. Why can't I stop crying? What a strong aroma. Just then, Li Qing came down. She was twisting a mop. Mr. Chun, why are you here? Auntie Li, I brought you a present. Of course, Li Qing had to bring a present for Ethan. Chun Zhao glanced at the crying Ethan. The purple brew was very effective on him, but it had no effect on Li Qing. She was also a spiritualist. Of course, in Chinese terms, she was called a charlatan or a cultivator. The wine is full of spiritual energy. Mr. Chun, it's too expensive. I can't take it. Take it. Every one of my friends has a share. Chun Zhao pushed the purple brew to Li Qing. Auntie Li, I'm here to ask you some questions. Go ahead. Auntie Li, can your soul leave your body? You're talking about primordial spirit projection, right? Li Qing corrected. What's the difference? Chun Zhao asked, confused. He didn't understand. Only after a person dies will their soul leave their body, and the only thing a cultivator can control is their own primordial spirit. Li Qing said, but I've seen living souls before. Those people didn't die, so why can their souls leave their bodies? A living soul is not a soul either. Taoism talks about 3 souls and 7 spirits. The 3 souls are further divided into embryonic light, refreshing spirit, and nether essence. Li Qing explained, embryonic light is self-consciousness, or consciousness or divine sense. This is the so-called living soul. If a living person is unconscious, there's a chance that their soul will leave their body. Refreshing spirit is wisdom and intelligence, corresponding to the primordial spirit. It's also the only thing that can leave one's body. Nether essence is the 7 emotions and 6 desires, referring to the god of lust. Can't leave the body either. Once it leaves, the person will turn into ashes, like grass, wood, earth, or stone. Li Qing paused and continued, in Confucianism, there's the heavenly principle and extinguishing human desires. It's actually cultivating the primordial spirit. Extinguishing the god of lust is emotionless and desireless, reaching the great Tao of heaven. Taoism cultivates the 3 into 1, merging them into the world and reaching the celestial realm. Auntie Li, do you know primordial spirit projection? Chun Zhao asked. I don't, and my cultivation isn't high enough. Li Qing shook her head with a bitter smile. But I see that Mr. Chen's spiritual qi is abundant, and his spiritual platform is shining brightly. Your cultivation is many times higher than mine. I think it's high enough. But I don't know how to do it. Is there a trick? There's no primordial spirit projection in the Chingy sect. I've only read some books. It's very dangerous. The first time the primordial spirit leaves the body, it'll be attacked by astral winds and malice. Only people with great wisdom can practice this. Li Qing looked at Chen Zhao worriedly. Mr. Chen, if it's not necessary, don't practice this dangerous spell. Li Qing really cared about Chen Zhao. After all, she was alone now. Chen Zhao had helped her greatly, so she didn't want him to encounter danger. Actually, I'm just curious. I don't have to practice it. Chen Zhao chuckled. After hearing that the risk of primordial spirit projection was so high, Chen Zhao wanted to give up. But curiosity gnawed at Chen Zhao's heart like ants. Chen Zhao wondered if he should ask Old Turtle. After all, it was an old monster that had lived for tens of millions of years. Old Turtle didn't know any spells, but he might know a little. After saying goodbye to Li Qing and Ethan, Chen Zhao went home and jumped into the river map. Recently, Chen Zhao had gone to the river map many times. He was more familiar with how to enter and leave the map. Chen Zhao, how many years has it been since you last came to see me? I've been so bored. For Old Turtle, 1 day in the outside world was 1,000 days in the river map. 1 month in the outside world was a few decades in the river map. Chen Zhao hadn't come for more than 10 days. Old Turtle was already very bored. I brought you some new games. The consoles are all broken. What's the use of just games? Didn't I leave you 20 consoles last time? They're all broken? Of course. Can't you imagine how long it's been since you last came? Old Turtle said impatiently, prepare 100 game consoles for me next time. Also, prepare more game controllers for me. Chen Zhao earned a lot, but he also spent a lot of money. He had to send all kinds of resources to Old Turtle every few days. Every time, it was tens of thousands of dollars. Forget it, who asked him to be the boss? Old Turtle, can I ask you something? You can do primordial spirit projection, right? Yes. It's a small spell. It's not hard. Can you teach me? Chen Zhao stared at Old Turtle, his eyes shining. Can't unless you want to die. Why? The first time your primordial spirit is out of your body, the astral winds and external malevolence can kill you. Then what can you do? I can't. Human primordial spirits are too weak. If you have a way, I'll come in once a day and stay with you for at least 10 days each time. I'll play whatever you want. Wait, let me think. Old Turtle thought for a moment and said, you can cultivate primordial spirit projection in the river map. There are no astral winds or malevolence. Can't I use it outside? If you can find a treasure that can protect the primordial spirit, yes. Do you have one? No. Chen Zhao was a bit disappointed, but he could at least use primordial spirit projection in the river map. Chapter 724. Tell me the method. Are you going to cultivate today? It's better to be early than late, Chen Zhao said impatiently. You need help to leave your body for the first time. Do you want to start now? So soon? You said it too. It's better to be early than late. Do I need to prepare anything? No, you just have to stand still. Leave the rest to me. I'm just going to stand still? Yes. Old Turtle nodded. Chen Zhao looked at Old Turtle. It was like he was doing Tai Chi right now. Old Turtle really did look like a sage. Wait, why did the style change? How did Tai Chi suddenly turn into Bruce Lee? Chen Zhao's chin was hooked by a fist. Left hook, right hook, stop, stop. Old Turtle didn't give Chen Zhao a chance to breathe. You, forget about Bruce Lee. Why do you have the King of Fighters moves? Wait, Old Turtle finally stopped. Chen Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. Thankfully, he'd almost been killed by Old Turtle. Old Turtle, let's be serious, okay? Don't mess around like this. I'm serious. Old Turtle looked at Chen Zhao seriously. Serious? You're not going to beat me half to death, are you? Yes. But you didn't succeed after so long. Who told you I didn't succeed? But I don't feel anything at all. Look back. Chen Zhao looked back and saw another him sitting on the ground. His eyes were white and his mouth was open. Saliva dripped from the corner of his mouth. Fuck! Chun Zhao's face was filled with shock. So he was already a spirit now. How is it? Very accurate, right? Old Turtle said proudly. I hit your spirit out immediately. It was like he'd done something incredible. Chun Zhao was dumbfounded. What do you mean by hit my spirit out immediately? What else can I hit out? Okay, your spirit is out. I don't understand why you're practicing this. This was Chun Zhao's first time his spirit had left his body and existed as a spirit. However, he wasn't any different from before. It felt almost the same, except that his body was light as a feather, as if he could float at any time. Chun Zhao approached his body and tried to see if he could control the spatial ring. Yes, the space ring was still under his control. Chun Zhao took out the black key. However, the moment the black key appeared, the black key suddenly flew toward Chun Zhao's chest like a magnet and stuck to his primordial spirit's chest. Fuck! What's going on? The black key slowly fused into his primordial spirit. Then his primordial spirit turned black. Fuck! I'm not going to turn black, right? Huh? Old Turtle turned around in confusion. The changes in Chun Zhao's primordial spirit surprised him. Did you use some kind of essence soul treasure? Chun Zhao's heart jumped. The black key should be used on the primordial spirit. I'm not sure either. Something fused with my soul just now. Chun Zhao asked worriedly, I'm so black right now. Will I turn black like in movies or novels? And then disown them? Old Turtle rolled his eyes. Young man, you've read too many novels. But my primordial spirit has turned black. I feel like I've become really evil. Who said black is evil? Your primordial spirit has clearly strengthened. It should be because the treasure you mentioned fused with your primordial spirit. But then again, what's the point of strengthening the primordial spirit? The simplest way to explain it is to make you smarter. Then what if I make it more complicated? It still makes you smarter, so it's useless for power or cultivation. Who said that? Then what's the point? It's just not obvious. Old Turtle was speechless. No wonder the ancient Confucian scholars were all so good at talking, but they were all weak. Every family has their own techniques. Even a divine beast like me has different techniques, not to mention sex, Old Turtle said. But your primordial spirit and body are different from normal people. It's probably unprecedented in history. You might be able to establish your own sect. Don't. Let me follow the path of others. I'm not planning on establishing my own sect. How unambitious. Since ancient times, those who were ambitious and unique usually died very miserably. Actually, the path of cultivation is nothing more than immortal primordial spirit, immortal body, and immortal mind. These three have countless branches. What about you? I guess my body is immortal. Did you do it? No. You've lived for tens of millions of years and you still haven't done it. It's not as easy as you think. Some people have an epiphany, while others are stuck at the bottom of an abyss. What will you do when you succeed? Become a god? I didn't succeed. How do I know what will happen if I succeed? Will it be like in the novels, becoming a part of this world? Kid, you must have gone silly from reading novels. If that's what cultivators pursue, then only fools would cultivate it. That's what you read, kid. But don't Taoists talk about the unity of heaven and man? That's just beautiful words. It's actually stealing the power of heaven and borrowing the power of the earth. When you reach that realm, you can use the power of heaven and earth as you please. Aren't you awesome? But you have to return what you borrowed. But according to the unity of heaven and man, I'm borrowing from you because we're family. Why should I return what my family uses? You're just lying to yourself. You can't say that. The laws of heaven and earth exist, especially for cultivators like you. You should respect heaven and earth. What's yours is yours. What's borrowed has to be returned. Even if it's just a title, it's better than nothing. You can be shameless to the bank, but you can't be shameless to the world. Then let's not cultivate the unity of heaven and man. Let's do something else. Look, you just said you don't want to be unique. Now you want to establish your own mountain. What do you recommend? For example, you don't have to do anything or use a lamp as a companion. You can just eat and sleep and cultivate? I want such a convenient cultivation method. How about you introduce one to me? That's why I hate cultivation the most, Chun Zhao said in disappointment. After returning to his body, Chun Zhao suddenly remembered something. Oh, you haven't told me how to leave my body. It's simple. Make yourself lose your mind and then knock yourself out. Then your soul will leave your body. What's the principle? I don't know. Chapter 725. This is the most convenient and simple method. It doesn't require training at all. You don't like it? Old Turtle said unhappily. Chun Zhao felt stifled. Simple was simple. The key was that it was too rough. What if it turned him into a fool? By the way, this will turn you into a fool, right? Yes. Sometimes some people beat themselves into idiots, and their primordial spirits never came back. Why do I feel like you're setting me up? Old Turtle immediately changed the topic. By the way, I've recently developed a simplified version of Body Double. Do you want to learn it? What simplified version? Didn't you say that I can't learn Doppelganger? This simplified version can only create 2 avatars, and the avatars can't use magic. Is it difficult? Chun Zhao asked. The so-called simplicity was only relative. Chun Zhao studied for more than 10 days, but he still didn't understand everything. Why are you so stupid? It's such a simple technique, and you still haven't learned it after learning it for more than 10 days? You said that my primordial spirit has been strengthened, but why do I feel like it hasn't been strengthened at all? Didn't you say that after one's primordial spirit is strengthened, one can learn everything faster? Old Turtle turned his head and spat out silently. The base number is too low. This sentence was hurtful. Fuck, I don't believe that I can't learn it. If I can't learn it, I won't go out. Don't be too hard on yourself. Some things are sudden epiphanies. What is an epiphany? The apple fell on Newton's head and he discovered gravity. That's called enlightenment. Alright, another 10 days had passed, and he still hadn't learned it. Over 20 days in the river diagram was only half an hour in the real world. After leaving the river map, he received a call from Del. Hey, Chun, why couldn't I get through to you? What is it? Chun Zhao and Del had known each other for a long time. Del also kept changing under Chun Zhao's gaze. The current Del was no longer doing the ridiculous things of the past. Didn't you say you wanted to buy a yacht? Yes. Do you want to customize it or buy it directly? What's the difference? Custom-made ones are definitely more expensive and take longer. A yacht will take at least half a year to make. If it's a larger yacht, it will take more than a year to make. If you buy it directly, it will be much simpler. There are also 3 grades. Get to the point. There's a yacht exhibition the day after tomorrow. Do you want to go together? Chun Zhao thought for a moment and answered, Okay. Let me know when it's time. Just as Del hung up, Stephen called again. Chun, there's a yacht exhibition the day after tomorrow. Do you want to go together? Ah, a friend of mine has asked me out. You've met him before. It's Del. Then let's go together, Stephen said. All right. When Chun Zhao was alone at home, he would usually replenish his supplies. Chun Zhao and Fei Lai were the only ones at home. But there was still a whole family of different sizes, and there were 10 underlings. Therefore, the consumption of the family was quite large. The people in Mountain Town Supermarket were already very familiar with him. After all, he had lived here for almost a year. He had also taught a few of the town's gangsters a lesson. After a few times, he had become familiar with them. Every time he went to the supermarket, there would always be a few girls throwing flirtatious glances at him. Chun Zhao more or less knew what they were thinking. Back when Chun Zhao had lived at 13 Banana Street, he had kept a low profile. Now that he was living in a mansion and driving a luxurious car, the girls all regretted what they had done. After returning to the villa, Chun Zhao received another call from James. Hey Chen, when are you free to come to the set? We've officially started filming. I think I'm filming with Steven and Yafin. When are they free? They said they're asking you when you're free. They'll cooperate with you. James could see that Stephen and Chun Zhao's relationship had reached such a level. I'm free these few days except the day after tomorrow. Are you free today? James asked. Mr. Stevens visiting the set today. Stephen had actually come to the set today to hold the fort. In James's crew, the male lead had some status. He was also a new director, so he couldn't control the male lead. But when Stephen came today, the male lead was as obedient as a sheep. Okay, I'll go now. It wasn't even noon and Chun Zhao had nothing to do. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth. If you have guests, call me. With that, Chun Zhao left. Half an hour later, he arrived at James's set. Hey, give me the parking space. Chun Zhao poked his head out of the window and saw a tall, black-haired woman in the sports car. In the driver's seat was a girl with glasses. She should be an assistant. She was the one who'd said that. But her English was a bit bad and her accent was very strong. Chinese? Japanese? Or Korean? You're also Chinese. Both the woman and the assistant were surprised. They didn't expect to meet someone from the same hometown here. The assistant's tone wasn't very polite, but Chun Zhao didn't want to make things difficult for his fellow countrymen. Your actors here? Yes. Hey, Changji nodded. Don't you know me? Sorry. Are you a local actor? Yes, you're a crew member? No. I'm just a minor character. Chun Zhao shook his head. Hey, give me the parking space, the assistant called again. We're really in a hurry. I took the parking space first. You guys should figure it out yourselves. How can he be like this? He's so rude. Chun Ku glanced at the assistant. Go park the car. I'll go report to the set first. When Chan Ku entered the set, she saw the man from before standing beside the director with the script in his hand. The director was explaining the scene to him. He had the script and the director was still explaining the scene to him. It seemed that he had some scenes. Chun Ku's eyes turned and brightened. It was Director Stephen. Chun Ku immediately tidied up her clothes and walked over elegantly. Hello, Director. I'm Chun Ku. James glanced at Chun Ku and then at the time. Good, very punctual. I like punctual actors. Hello, Mr. Stephen. Stephen glanced at Chun Ku and nodded. Miss Chun, wait a moment. It's not your turn yet. There are a few more scenes before that. Okay. Chun Ku found a seat and sat down, looking at James and Stephen. Chapter 726. Put this on. What's this? A bulletproof vest? No. It's filled with blood bags and explosives, James said. You're shooting the last scene now. You'll be shot to death. Chun Ku looked at Chun Zhao, thinking that his role was very ordinary. Just then, Stephen said, James, let me do this scene. Chun Zhao rolled his eyes, displeased. Chun Zhao was a bit envious. Stephen would do it himself? That was the dream of so many actors. Even Chun Ku herself wanted this opportunity. Why was this guy so reluctant? Scene 13, first take. Ready, action. Stephen was directing the camera himself. Now start running. Look left and right. When you realize that the enemy has caught up to you, turn around. Ing. Stephen stood up. What kind of shit are you acting? Look, look. Remember the look of fear. Again. Scene 13, second take. Action. Chun Zhao repeated the previous action according to the script. Look of fear, look of fear. Fuck. Ing. Are you looking for a woman? You're a piece of shit. Chun Zhao was furious. If you scold me again, I'll tear your mouth apart. Fuck, you're so bad. Can't I say anything? Chun Ku was dumbfounded. In the United States, how could any minor character be so awesome? He was the publicly acknowledged top director in the world. Scene 13, third take. Action. Good. Look of fear, fear. Then you get kicked down and shout not to shoot. Don't shoot. No. Bang, bang, bang. The blood bags on Chun Zhao's chest exploded one by one. Stephen screamed again. Fuck. Don't you scream when you get shot? Even a pig would know pain. Again. Chun Zhao glared at Stephen fiercely. Stephen shrunk his neck. What's with that look? Professionalism? Do you know what professionalism is? Look at that lady from China. Even without the camera, she's still reading the script. How many times have you read the script? Chen-ku was embarrassed by Steven's compliment. Actually, she'd been watching them. On the fourth take, Chun Zhao finally passed the scene. However, Chun Zhao's entire body was covered in blood. Chun-ku's female assistant stood beside Chen-ku and looked at him. Little bum, you're wasting time. Wang Lu, this is a foreign country, not a domestic one. Watch your words. Chun Zhao took a towel. Filming was indeed not easy. This scene made Chun Zhao feel like he was fighting a pig. No matter what, he would never go to Steven's crew again. This was just a temporary cameo as a director, and he was already scolding her so badly. What are you dilly-dallying for? The second scene is still yours. Chun Zhao was still wiping the blood off his body and face when Steven started urging him again. What's the second scene? The second scene was me pinning you to the ground and beating you up. What? You beat me? Why? No matter how I look at it, you don't look like you can beat me. It would be more convincing if I beat you up. That's the script, Steven said matter-of-factly. Chun Zhao flipped through the script. It was indeed like that. This time, it was James himself directing. Scene 14, first act. First time, get ready, action. Steven, the old man, exploded with strength from somewhere and pounced on Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao could only fall down. Steven was acting as an old detective. Chun Zhao was a pitiful robber who got separated from the group. From the beginning, he fought with the old detective and was finally beaten to death by the old detective. Steven didn't really hit him, but when his fist missed, Chun Zhao still had to act like he was hit. Cut. Steven, you're amazing. James didn't forget to suck up to Steven. No, I don't think it was perfect just now. His scream wasn't loud enough. James looked at Chun Zhao awkwardly. Anyway, this was how these two hated each other. They were so good, but they had to torture each other like this. Fuck. I'm not acting anymore. Chen-ku was surprised. How could an extra make such a request? Just then, James said, Okay, this scene is over. Chen-ku was even more shocked. How could this be? Why did this extra look like the main character? No, he was even cooler than the main character, right? Look at the main character. He was just beside her like a grandson. When can I beat him up? Chun Zhao asked, pointing at Steven. Not so soon. These are the only two scenes today. Go rest, James said. Then he looked at Chen-ku. Come here. How's your English? No problem. Chen-ku answered in English. Okay. How's the script? I've basically memorized the lines for the first few scenes. Then let's begin. Chen-ku realized that Steven had left too. She was a bit disappointed. She'd hoped that Steven could see her performance and even remember it. After a tiring day, Chen-ku and her assistant, Wang Lu, left the set. Chen-ku's phone rang. Hello. Hey, Aku. Are you free tonight? Auntie, I just came out from the set. Isn't staying here more comfortable than staying in a hotel? Mainly because it's close to the set. I'll send someone to be your driver every day. No need. Forget it. You can at least come over for dinner. You haven't seen your cousin, right? Chen-ku thought about it. Okay. After hanging up, Chen-ku said to Wang Lu, let's go in another direction. Aku, where are you going? Forget it. Pull over. I'll drive. Chen-ku was quite familiar with Los Angeles. A year ago, she'd studied at UCLA. She'd also been to her auntie's house, but she knew that her cousin, whom she'd never met, was in a bad condition and couldn't meet outsiders. Wang Lu sat in the passenger seat. Seeing Chun could drive into a manor, she was a bit shocked. The manor was really too big. It was obviously a rich person's home. Aku, where is this? My auntie's house, Chen-ku said. Just then, a black bodyguard came over. He seemed to know Chen-ku. Miss Chen, do you need help? No. Then please follow me. Boss is waiting for you inside. Wang Lu followed behind Chen-ku all the way, trembling with fear. She was afraid of going the wrong way or not being able to keep up. Aku, are there any rules here at your aunt's place? Chapter 727. Auntie. Chun-Ka walked into the living room and saw that apart from her auntie, there was also a girl. She had long black hair and a pair of big eyes. She was very pretty. However, she seemed unhappy. She stuck out her little nose and seemed to be sulking. "Ako, you're here." Yura's mother went up, clearly very happy. "Who is she?" "My assistant, Wang Lu." "Hello, auntie. Come sit." Yura's mother looked at Yura. "Yura, she's your cousin. Aren't you going to greet her?" "Hello." Yura looked at Chun-Ku and greeted her. Then she went back to her own world. "Yura, hello? What's wrong?" Chun-Ku went up to greet Yura. "No, I'm fine. Ignore her. She's throwing a tantrum." Chun-Ku looked at Yura in confusion. "Yura, tell me, what's wrong with you and Mom?" "Mom said that as long as I get B+ in every subject, she'll let me play with my brother. But she broke her promise." Chun-Ku was a bit surprised. She knew that she had a cousin. But just like Yura, she had never met this cousin before. But it seemed that Yura and her brother were quite close. "Yura, your brother has his own life. I don't think it's good for you to keep disturbing him." Yura's mother was also Chun Zhao's mother, but they weren't that close. Therefore, Yura's mother was still not willing to let Yura interact with Chun Zhao too much. Brother didn't say anything. "Why aren't you willing? It's too late now. You're lying to me again. You promised before the summer break, but you kept dragging it until now. It's been a month. Are you going to drag it until September? Are you going to let me go?" Yura's mother really did plan to do that. But now, Yura had clearly made things clear to her mother based on her personality. Chun-Ku was a bit awkward. She had come to visit her auntie and put up with her cousin. But now, she had encountered a family dispute. "Auntie, how about I bring Yura over? I've never seen this cousin before. I can use this chance to put up with him." "This?" Yura's mother hesitated. Sure. Before her mother agreed, Yura had already agreed for her. "I'll take you there." Yura's mother hesitated for a moment. "You can only stay at your brother's place for 3 days at most. Don't disturb him too much." 3 days. Yura's expression darkened again. "If you don't agree, then don't ever think about going to your brother's place." "Okay, 3 days it is. I'll call Cheryl." Yura happily picked up the phone. "Shirley, I'm going to stay with my brother for 3 days. You can come too." Sure. Cheryl hadn't gone to Chun Zhao's house in a long time and was worried about not having an excuse. Now that Yura called, she agreed without hesitation. After hanging up, Cheryl looked at Chris and Sienna pitifully. "Sister Chris, Sister Sienna, Yura said she wants to go to Chen's house, but she's afraid of being alone. Don't mess around in Chen's house." Chris glared at Shirley. Shirley immediately jumped up in excitement. She could go to Chen's house again. "Yura, do you really like your brother?" "Of course. He's super awesome." "Your brother really lives in a remote place," Chen-Ku said. The town was at least 30 kilometers away from Los Angeles. It seemed that Yura's brother didn't have a good background. No wonder Auntie didn't want Yura to interact with her brother. It was probably because they didn't get along. "Aku, did we go the wrong way?" Wang Lu asked worriedly. Chun-Ku was also suspicious. She looked at Yura. "Yes, turn at the intersection ahead." "Doesn't this road lead to the wilderness?" Chun-Ku was even more suspicious now. "The sign at the intersection says Mirror Lake, right?" "Yes, brother lives by the lake. From the intersection onward, all the land belongs to him." Chun-Ku was very suspicious of Yura's words. After turning the corner, the road became somewhat gloomy. Not only were there many bends, but there were also no street lights. Finally, a beam of light appeared before them. They finally saw the house before them. Chun-Ku and Wang Lu were stunned by the scene before them. It was such a beautiful house. It was like a house in a dream. Their eyes lit up. "Did your mom buy this for your brother?" "No. Mom and brother don't have a good relationship." Yura was at an age where she could understand things. She knew some things and understood some things. A house like this would cost at least a few $1 million. Chun-Ku estimated. She didn't know much about this either. However, if according to Yura, the surrounding land belonged to her cousin, then even a few $1,000,000 wouldn't be enough. Just then, the door inside opened. A huge bear ran out. Yura immediately got out. Chen-ku didn't even have time to stop her. Just as Chen-ku was trembling in fear, Yura opened her arms and hugged Princess. Haha, Princess. Did you miss me? Did you miss me a lot? Chen-ku and Wang Lu got out of the car. They looked at the huge bear that was at least 10 times her weight. But Yura didn't care at all. Just then, a man came out. Chen-ku and Wang Lu realized that it was actually the man they met on the set today. Wasn't he the extra? How could he afford a house like this? Needless to say, Chen-ku's aunt must have bought it for him. Yura, why are you here? Brother, do you not welcome me? Chen Zhao's face twitched. Yes, of course you're welcome. Then, Chen Zhao looked at Chen-ku and Wang Lu. You're that female star? Why are you and Yura together? I'm Chen-ku. If I'm not wrong, you should be my cousin. Cousin? Chen Zhao frowned and thought for a long time. Do I have a cousin? Chen-ku's face darkened. If you think you don't, then you don't. I brought Yura to you. Bye. Bye. Chen Zhao didn't want to keep her. Chen-ku was filled with hatred. She got into the car and left. Aku, your cousin is so uncultured. Okay, drive. Chen-ku wasn't in a good mood either. Do you want to ask the director to cut out your cousin's scenes when you arrive at the set tomorrow? I haven't talked much with the director. Do you think my words will work? Chapter 7:28. Chen Zhao looked at Yura. It's your own room. Go clean it up yourself. Brother, can't you be nicer to your only sister? I just got here. I haven't even sat down yet. Yura looked at Chen Zhao pitifully. I just chased away a cousin. Also, have you sat on my butt since you came here? I'll clean up after Cheryl comes. As soon as Yura said that, Sienna and Chris brought Cheryl over. I'll clean up after Cheryl. Okay, you guys can clean it up together now. Sienna and Chris brought Cheryl in. Chun, I'll leave Cheryl to you and Feilai. Sorry for the trouble. No trouble at all. Sienna and Chris didn't stay for long. They left Cheryl behind. Stop messing around. Don't mess around. Behave. We'll go play first. We'll clean the room later. Yura and Cheryl had already jumped into the lake. They didn't even change out of their swimsuits, afraid that Chen Zhao would catch them. Chen Zhao didn't care about them. They weren't young anyway. Chen Zhao went back to his room to accompany Feilai. Actually, Yura and Cheryl wouldn't affect Chen Zhao and Feilai much. It was mainly because they played too late at night. It affected Cerberus and Little Nine's activity time. The next day, after Feilai went to work, Chen Zhao dragged Yura and Cheryl out of bed. You two, do you want to go to the movie set and play? No, we're going to play at home. How could a movie set be more fun than home? Okay, you two stay at home. Chen Zhao glanced at Princess. Watch them. If they step out of the territory, bite off their legs. Brother, I'm your sister. Ha! Chen Zhao glanced at Yura. He remembered very clearly that these two girls had caused him trouble in New York. He didn't even dare to tell his mother, afraid that she would blame him. Yura and Cheryl were at home. Even if they tore down the house, they could just rebuild it. However, if they went out and an accident happened, money couldn't make up for it. Chen Zhao arrived at the parking lot. Chen-ku and Wang Lu just got out of the car. Chen Zhao nodded expressionlessly. He didn't know Chen-ku well, and he wouldn't do that just because she was a cousin. They were suddenly in love with each other. How uncultured! Wang Lu snorted. Chen Zhao frowned and turned his head. Watch your assistant's mouth, or you won't even know when you get beaten to death. Mr. Chen, it's not good to threaten a girl like this. Chen-ku didn't plan to be Chen Zhao's cousin, and Chen Zhao's words made her have no good impression on Chen Zhao. I'm just speaking the truth, Chen Zhao said nonchalantly. Do you believe that I won't sue you for intimidation? Wang Lu yelled. Then you better find a reliable lawyer. I'm more familiar with this place than you are. Chen Zhao looked at Wang Lu coldly and turned to leave. When they arrived at the set, James and the other actors were already there. Normally, there would be a schedule for a movie shoot, such as a set, a scene, and which scenes to shoot. Chun Zhao and Steven were not part of the plan. When you're free, come over and take a few shots. As for the final cut, it might not be like the script. James saw Chun Zhao walk over and pointed at an RV parked in the distance. Steven was the only one who could park an RV on the set. Wang Lu saw Chun Zhao run onto an RV. Ako, doesn't he look like a thief? Chen Ku saw it too. When Chun Zhao got on the RV, he looked left and right. He indeed looked like a thief. Chun Ku hated her cousin, but she heard that her cousin was a thief. She was still very dissatisfied. She was disappointed that Chun Zhao didn't live up to her expectations. The two came to the RV and heard people talking inside. They seemed to be arguing inside. That's mine. Fuck. What do you mean yours? It's obviously mine. You stole it from me. Bang. Suddenly, Chun Ku and Wang Lu heard the sound of glass shattering. What? I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding. I'm gonna die. The two girls jumped in fright. Someone killed someone? The two of them quickly ran in the direction of James. The noise in the RV gave them a huge fright. Chun Ku ran to James. Mr. James? Bad news. RV. Someone seems to be fighting in the RV. I heard someone say that he's bleeding and dying. James was shocked. Weren't Steven and Chun Zhao in the RV? They copied endlessly all day. It was normal for them to fight. As for bleeding or murder, he didn't believe it at all. Don't talk nonsense. It's true. We heard it with our own ears. Hurry and go take a look. Okay. Okay. I'll go take a look. Seeing that James was going to go alone, Chun Ku hurriedly said, bring a few more people. Don't disturb the filming. The crew all had their own things to do. James knew what was important. Chun Ku and Wang Lu followed behind James, trembling with fear. James knocked on the RV door. There was no response. James opened the door directly. Then, they saw that the interior of the car was a mess. Steven was lying on the sofa, dripping with blood. He was covered in bandages from head to toe. Even his mouth was stuffed with bandages. James jumped in fright. Did something really happen to him? But Steven suddenly started to whimper. James hurriedly pulled out the bandages from Steven's mouth. Mr. Steven, what's wrong? That asterisk shoal. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. Judging from Steven's expression, the fight was real. Where's that guy? That asterisk shoal took a call and ran away. Steven said gloomily. Fuck. I came out too early today and forgot to bring a bodyguard. Next time, I'm definitely going to throw him into the sea to feed the sharks. Ha! Feed the sharks? You might as well throw him into the river to feed the crocodiles. James was already used to Chun Zhao and Steven's love and hate. He really shouldn't have listened to them. It was such a waste of time. Okay. Go back to filming. Mr. Steven, aren't we going to call the police? Wang Lu asked. Steven and James glared at Wang Lu. Chun Ku pulled Wang Lu. They definitely didn't want the scandal to spread. Chapter 729. Cut. Nice. This one's good. James was quite appreciative of this Chinese woman. He'd chosen a Chinese star because of Chun Zhao. Of course, China was the second biggest box office for movies now. It was a huge box office that Hollywood couldn't ignore. Therefore, there were more and more China elements in Hollywood to get closer to Chinese people's movie-watching experience. According to his research, Chun Ku was very popular in China. Among the actresses of her generation, her acting skills and salary were the most reasonable. After all these considerations, he'd chosen Chun Ku as the second female lead. Of course, the real main character wasn't a human. Since the name of the movie was Animal Supermarket, as the name implied, humans were not the main characters of this movie. The real main characters were the animals, not the actors. And the animals were still lying in Chun Zhao's house. Rest for 10 minutes and continue with the next scene. Director, I want to ask for a day off tomorrow, Chun Ku said. Huh? Are you busy tomorrow? It's a private matter. Chun Ku nodded. Okay, I'll change the filming schedule. James saw that Chun Ku had been very professional on set these days. so he didn't mind giving her a day off. It was mainly because she didn't have many scenes to begin with. After all, she was only the second female lead and the real main character wasn't a human, so it was easy to arrange. Although she didn't have many scenes, there were still dozens of scenes a day. After filming for a whole day, Chun-Koo was still very tired. "Aku, are we going back to the hotel?" "No, to UCLA. UCLA was Chun-Koo's alma mater. She'd graduated from it 2 years ago. Chun-Koo also wanted to go back and see. Perhaps she could meet her mentor there. Chun Zhao had rushed over after receiving Margaret's call. Although he didn't have a deep relationship with Margaret, judging from her tone, she seemed to have encountered a supernatural incident. Chun Zhao felt that if necessary, he could ask the supernatural organization to intervene. Since they were the organization, they would definitely handle this. "Margaret, what's going on?" "I'm not sure either," Margaret said. "What do you mean?" "I vaguely remember that 2 women came to my place a few times, but every time they came, I would forget what we said to each other," Margaret said. "Are you too tired from work?" Chun Zhao asked. "I come into contact with about 20 patients a day, and I can remember the content of every patient's conversation, but I can't remember those 2 women. And every time I leave, I realize that I've prescribed them a large amount of Valium. You're a doctor, so you should know that Valium is a controlled drug. Without a medical certificate, you can't prescribe it." Margaret said, "And I always feel that I talk to them about a lot of important things, but every time I finish talking, I would forget them and be absent-minded for a few hours." Chun Zhao frowned. According to Margaret, she had indeed encountered some people from the spiritual world. "Chun, can you help me remember these things?" Margaret looked at Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao thought for a moment. "I only know how to make people fall asleep, but I don't know how to make them say something important." "Can you find them?" Chun Zhao shook his head. "How about I introduce you to the organization I'm in? They can help you solve problems and also be your bodyguards. They're professional and the price is reasonable." Margaret was about to answer, when the door suddenly opened. "It's them." Chun Zhao cursed inwardly. They really came at the wrong time. However, when Chun Zhao turned around, he realized that the 2 people outside were Cindy and Charlotte. Chun Zhao's expression changed immediately. Charlotte and Cindy's expressions changed too. "Run." Without even thinking, the 2 of them broke into a run. Chun Zhao chased after them. "You 2 bitches, don't run." "Split up," Charlotte said to Cindy. With that, she stopped and blocked Chun Zhao's way. Seeing that Chun Zhao was about to charge over, Charlotte suddenly lifted her foot and stomped heavily on the ground. The cement ground rolled like a wave and surged toward Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao's foot missed and he smashed into the undulating ground. "Ouch, ouch." Chun Zhao fell hard. When he looked up again, Charlotte was already far away. Fuck, he failed miserably. Chun Zhao climbed up and chased after her. Charlotte was in a hurry and happened to hear a police car at the intersection. A policewoman was standing beside it, drinking something. "Hello? Ms. Police, someone's chasing me." Sharon turned her head and saw Chun Zhao charging over from afar. "Stop!" Sharon blocked Chun Zhao's way. Chun Zhao hurriedly braked. If he crashed into Sharon, he'd probably be assaulting a police officer. "Sharon, why are you blocking me? You were chasing that. Where's that woman?" "She's a thief. She stole my stuff," Chun Zhao said with a dark expression. Charlotte ran too fast. In just a few seconds, she had already run out of sight. Chun Zhao looked at Sharon maliciously. "Sharon, you're assisting a crime now, right?" Sharon's expression darkened. She'd really been careless. "How do I know if you're telling the truth or not? Maybe you're just harassing her." "That's boring." Chun Zhao's expression was displeased. Charlotte and Cindy had appeared in LA. Would the source of corruption be far away? That was big trouble. Chun Zhao's home was in LA. All of his friends were in LA too. If the source of corruption caused trouble in LA, his house at Mirror Lake would probably be flooded too. "You're lucky I didn't arrest you for molesting a woman on the street. Arrest me if you can. Don't just talk." "You think I don't dare?" "You just don't dare. See if I dare. Come, arrest me." Crack, Sharon cuffed Chun Zhao right away. Just then, A car passed by. Chen Ku and Wang Lu saw Chen Zhao being cuffed by a policewoman. Aku, look, that guy's been arrested. Aku snorted indifferently. Serves him right. Ah, he's running. The two saw Chen Zhao sprinting on the sidewalk with his hands cuffed. The policewoman chased after him relentlessly. That asterisk shoal runs really fast. Wang Lu and Chen Ku's car wasn't fast, but it was still 30 kilometers per hour. But Chen Zhao ran even faster than their car. He sprinted all the way, leaving Sharon far behind. Chapter 730. In the end, Sharon gave up. Chen Zhao ran too fast. She couldn't catch up with him with her slender legs. After running to a place with no one around, Chen Zhao tore off the handcuffs and tossed them on the ground. Nothing good happened every time he met Sharon. However, Charlotte and Cindy's appearance in L.A. had to be taken seriously. He had to get those bastards from the supernatural organization to move. They shouldn't stay in their nest all day. Chen Zhao spun around a few times. Charlotte and Cindy had really run away. Before he knew it, he'd arrived at the gate of UCLA. He hadn't been to UCLA for a long time. Chen Ku and Wang Lu's car also stopped. That guy again? Chen Ku asked, frowning. Her cousin was really everywhere. He'd actually come to UCLA in the blink of an eye. Aku, should we call the police? It's useless, Chen Ku said. He's too fast. He'll definitely run away as soon as he hears the siren. So we're just going to leave him be? I know some people here, Chen Ku said. Chen Ku and Wang Lu arrived at the boxing club. Seeing Chen Ku, a coach of the boxing club, immediately greeted her. Oh my God. Chen, why are you here? Aren't you supposed to be in China? I came to L.A. to work, Chen Ku said. I came to see you guys. Aruba, how are you? Although there have been some incidents in the boxing club, overall it's doing very well. Our boxing club has even produced a star boxer who has made quite a name for himself in the professional boxing world. Aruba's saliva was flying everywhere as he spoke, appearing very proud of himself. That's great. Who is it? Do I know him? He joined the boxing club the year you graduated. I don't know if you remember him. He's called Tiger. Oh, I remember. That super big guy. He fights in the super heavyweight division, right? That's right. He's already the champion of the BBL. His next step is to fight in the IBF. He's actively preparing now. Chen Ku looked at the boxing club. There seemed to be a lot more people than before. It's all Tiger's credit. Because he's famous, he's attracted more students. Aruba, when I came in just now, I saw a fugitive wandering around the school. He's a very dangerous person. Chen Ku said seriously, we just saw the police chasing him. He should be hiding in the school now. Bring me there. I'll catch him, Aruba said immediately. It's too dangerous for you to go alone. It's best to call a few more people. Don't you believe in my strength? This is not a matter of strength. If he has a knife on him, you will still be in danger, so you should call a few more people. All right, I'll call a few more people. Chen Zhao sat in the stadium. It was dusk, so many sports students were practicing in the stadium. Chen Zhao also saw a familiar face, Grint. Grint also noticed Chen Zhao and ran to the audience seats. Mr. Chen. Hi, hello. Grint looked at him. Mr. Chen, how about we run together? Grint was challenging Chen Zhao. He knew that Chen Zhao was very good at long-distance running. He might even be able to break the current world record. However, he'd been training with Chen Zhao as his goal these days. As long as a person had a goal, they would improve rapidly. Grint hadn't participated in professional competitions yet. However, his results had already caught the eye of a sports club. He'd also signed a contract. He wanted to compete with Chen Zhao to see his results, and to see how far he was from Chen Zhao. Not interested, Chen Zhao shook his head and stood up to leave. Mr. Chen, are you scared of me? Grint said provocatively. Actually, he knew that he wasn't as good as Chen Zhao. He just wanted to compete with Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. How about we fight in the boxing ring? If you can last 3 seconds, I'll compete with you in long-distance running. Grint shuddered at once. If he fought Chen Zhao in the ring, he wouldn't be able to last 1 second, let alone 3 seconds. Grint knew Chen Zhao's combat ability. He'd fought twice in the school. The first time, he'd crippled Zanla Douglas. The second time, he'd crippled a professor who seemed to have taken stimulants. Capable people didn't need to prove their strength, even if others provoked them. Chen Zhao was like that at UCLA. Even if he rejected Grint's challenge, he was still stronger than him. Just then, Chen Zhao's phone rang. It was from Wright. Little bastard. How long has it been since you last came to UCLA? Did you forget who you are? Right, did you plant spies in the entire UCLA? Cut the crap. Come to my office. Fine. As soon as Chen Zhao walked out of the stadium, a group of people surged toward him. I seem to be quite popular in the school, Chen Zhao thought. Chen Zhao thought. He realized that the leader seemed to be his cousin. It's him, Chen Ku said, pointing at Chen Zhao. She clearly didn't plan on greeting him. Chen Zhao lifted his head and looked at Aruba in confusion. What's wrong? Aruba? Aruba and the other members of the boxing club were panicking. The air seemed to be filled with awkwardness. Please don't tell me you're here to stop me for no reason. Chen Zhao's face darkened. Mr. Chen, this is a misunderstanding. Fine. I'll give you a chance to stop me. Come, who's first? The boxing club members almost peed their pants in fear. These people were all carefully selected by Aruba. All of them were veterans of the boxing club. They had both strength and technique. Then they'd met Chen Zhao. More importantly, they'd stopped Chen Zhao. Mr. Chen, it's actually a joke. Do you believe it? Chen Ku and Wang Lu were both confused. Why did the boxing club members seem to be so familiar with Chen Zhao? Moreover, the boxing club members seemed to be very afraid of Chen Zhao. Aruba, why are you afraid of him? Chen, you're going to get me killed, Aruba said with a sad face. Chen Ku didn't understand. There were so many of them. Why were they afraid of him? Suddenly, Wright came from afar and started cursing. Fuck! I called you, but you didn't come. Why are you wasting time? I met the boxing club members, Chen Zhao said. I want to practice with them. Chapter 731. Chen, you're the death of me. Me? What about me? Why are you afraid of him? Because he's close to the principal? Of course it's not that simple. He's the spiritual pillar of the boxing club. During the University of California Sports Day, the people from UCSF came to cause trouble. They invited a Golden Belt winner, a very famous professional boxer. Tiger was badly injured, but Mr. Chen came and crippled him. He even sent a dozen UCSF students to the hospital. Can he beat people up like that? He's a professor at UCLA. Him? Professor? Chen Ku couldn't tell that her cousin was a professor. What does he teach? He's a medical professor, but I saw him being chased by a police officer just now. I don't know about that. Maybe there's some misunderstanding. Anyway, if you want me to deal with Mr. Chen, I won't help you. I don't want to go to the hospital. Aruba's attitude towards Chen Ku changed too. What a joke. He had a good relationship with Chen Ku, but it was not to the point where he would die for her. Although Chen Ku was unhappy that she had made such a fuss. But this was America. What could she do? The two walked out of the school. Chen Ku and Wang Lu saw the policewoman who'd chased Chen Ku earlier standing at the gate. Wang Lu immediately walked up to Sharon. Miss Officer, are you chasing an Asian man? I know where he is. Sarah looked Wang Lu up and down, and then said, Is he in school? You know? He's a professor here. I saw you chasing him on the road. He took my handcuffs. Just handcuffs? Something didn't seem right. You know each other? It's none of your business whether I know him or not, Sharon said, annoyed. She and Chen Ku had been at each other's throats for a long time. She did not need outsiders to criticize her. Wang Lu left, feeling more and more dissatisfied. Ah Ku. None of the American police are good. Forget it. Don't think so much. We have nothing to do with him anyway. Chen Ku shook her head. Rest early today. Come with me to the yacht exhibition tomorrow. The next day, Feilai, aren't you going to the yacht show? I'm not going. I still have to go to work. A few days ago, I skipped work for an entire day. Robio was really angry. That day, Feilai brought her pets to New York overnight and stayed there for another day. She didn't tell Robio at all. Although Chun Zhao and Robio had a good relationship, Robio was still furious because of this. Robio was the type of person where work was work and friendship was friendship. No matter how good their relationship was, if there was a problem at work, he would still reprimand her. Chun Zhao couldn't help Feilai either. He couldn't tell Robio that they were so close that he couldn't scold Feilai. If Chun Zhao said that, then his EQ was too low. What kind of yacht do you want to buy? Send me pictures, Feilai said. Of course. I will fully follow your advice. Then Feilai hurried to work, and Del came right after her. As soon as Del arrived, he played with Princess and the other pets. Chun Zhao could tell from Del's expression that he hadn't eaten breakfast. Eating breakfast is a good habit. It'll make you healthier. It's enough that I have you as my doctor. I'm your personal doctor, not your babysitter. Chun Zhao rolled his eyes. Eat your breakfast. Chun Zhao and Del were both procrastinators. After Del finished breakfast, he was still lying on the recliner and chatting with Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao and Del didn't leave until Stephen called to urge them. When they arrived at the yacht exhibition, Chun Zhao realized that there were quite a lot of people. The exhibition was next to a dock. It was divided into two parts, water and indoor. The yachts on the water were all small and medium-sized. They had the most visitors. There were also large yachts that were placed indoors. These large yachts wouldn't go into the water easily without a buyer. After all, once the yacht was placed in the water, it would start to wear out. The erosion of the sea and the adhesion of shipworms to other objects would all cause the bottom of the boat to be corroded. These large yachts were priced at least $2 million. They wouldn't go into the water easily, unless someone paid a deposit and went into the water to test it. There would always be 2 or 3 celebrity yachts at the exhibition. These celebrity yachts were at least $5 million. From the design to the craftsmanship to the equipment, they were all top-notch. Chun Zhao entered the exhibition hall. It was very big, with at least a dozen medium to large yachts. The longest yacht among them was at least 50 meters long. The hull was shaped like a submarine. The whole body was curved, and the part above the deck was 3 stories high. There was also a helipad. There are quite a lot of people here. There are a lot of rich people in LA, Del said. Ah, Mr. Stephen, you're here too. Chen Ku was pleasantly surprised to see Stephen here. Stephen wasn't familiar with her. He probably didn't even know her name. However, Chun Ku still went up to greet him. Stephen looked at Chun Ku and Wang Lu and nodded slightly. Hello. Stephen was looking around for Chun Zhao. When Chun Zhao arrived at the exhibition, he'd called him and said that he'd already entered the exhibition hall. But the hall was too big and there were many people, so Stephen still couldn't find Chun Zhao. Mr. Stephen, are you looking for someone? Yes, he's my friend, Stephen answered indifferently. Do you need us to help you? No need. Stephen usually wouldn't interact too much with other female celebrities in public. He knew the entertainment industry well. Many times, just a little contact would cause him to be a target of scandal. It was even possible that a slight misalignment could be mistaken as a kiss. He didn't want to appear on the entertainment headlines across the Pacific Ocean. Nevertheless, Chun Ku didn't plan to give up. There weren't many opportunities to get close to this world-class director. Mr. Stephen, why don't you tell us what your friend looks like? We'll help you find him. Stephen ignored Chun Ku and stood on his tiptoes to look around. Finally, Stephen saw Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao also saw Stephen and walked toward him. Chapter 732. Chun Ku and Wang Lu turned around. They saw Chun Zhao walk over. Chun Zhao was also a bit surprised. Why did he have to run into his cousin everywhere? Chun Ku was confused. Weren't they enemies? Yesterday, Chun Zhao had even tied Stephen up in the RV with gauze. Also, Stephen had clearly been making things difficult for Chun Zhao on set. What do you think? Which yacht do you like? I'll give it to you. Only those under $20 million. I don't need you to give it to me, Chun Zhao said, twitching his lips. You're nobody to me. Chun Ku's and Wang Lu's eyes almost popped out. Stephen wanted to give Chun Zhao a yacht? Under $20 million? If converted to RMB, it would be close to 140 million, right? What was their relationship? The two girls were dumbfounded. Cousin, Chun Ku greeted Chun Zhao. What? Chun? She's your cousin? She's my cousin, Chun Zhao said emotionlessly. Did you introduce her to James? No, it's her own ability. Chun Zhao shook his head. Let's walk over there. Should we ask James to arrange more scenes for your cousin? Stephen asked. Chun Ku was instantly excited. Could it be that as long as her cousin said the word, she could have more scenes? But why was she only a minor character in the movie? Don't mess up James' plan. We're just here to play. If his box office fails, we'll be the ones to blame again. Hearing Chun Zhao's answer, Chun Ku was instantly disappointed. This guy was indeed holding a grudge. Chun Ku was filled with hatred. It was just one sentence, but this guy actually retorted to her face. In fact, it was Stephen who'd suggested it in the first place. Don't you have a good relationship with your cousin? It's SOSO, Chun Zhao said indifferently, not really good or bad. Chun, your cousin is so pretty, Del suddenly interrupted. Chun Zhao turned around and glared coldly at Del. Just kidding. Don't take it seriously. Seriously? Chun, which yacht do you like? They're all good, Chun Zhao answered calmly. Let's go up and take a look, Stephen said. Stephen's face was the name card. He just needed to stand in front of the salesman, and it was enough for the salesman to welcome the three of them. The yacht they boarded was the longest one in the exhibition hall. This yacht is a private, custom-made yacht from Seagate. However, the previous customer who ordered the yacht had to give up the rest of the payment due to a financial situation. Now, Seagate can only put this yacht on display for sale. This yacht is called the Venus Star. It's 68 meters long and cost $45 million to build, but now it's only selling for $20 million. The salesman continued, this yacht has 10 rooms, a kitchen, an entertainment room, a restaurant, a cinema, a gym, a sauna, a beauty salon, and a conference room. The Venus Star has a helipad, a swimming pool, and a freshwater processor. The crew uses hybrid fuel power, and the maximum speed is 75 knots. It belongs to the category of high-speed yachts. At the same time, when filled with fuel, the maximum range is 3,000 nautical miles. Generally speaking, the distance of a yacht was determined by the amount of oil it could carry. 3,000 nautical miles was more than most yachts could go. A normal yacht's range was around 500 nautical miles, but the Venus Star was a large yacht, so the amount of oil couldn't be compared to a regular small yacht. To be honest, Chun Zhao was quite satisfied with the yacht, but the price was a bit too high. Chun Zhao's income had been high recently, and he had more than $20 million in his bank account. But was he going to use all his assets to buy this yacht? Chun Zhao was conflicted. Can it be cheaper? Chun Zhao asked. The salesman looked at Chun Zhao, his eyes glowing. Sir, are you interested in this yacht? In the morning, he'd already received more than 10 customers. He talked until his mouth was dry, but when everyone heard the price, they all backed off. Sir, what's your ideal price? The salesman asked. You should tell me the lowest price for this yacht first, Stephen said. Chen, the original owner must have gone bankrupt, Del said. This yacht is very unlucky. I suggest you think about it before deciding whether to buy it. You're right, Chun Zhao nodded. Sir, the original owner isn't bankrupt, the salesman hurriedly corrected. There's just a temporary problem with his cash flow. Chin, what do you think about that one? It doesn't look bad. Del pointed at a yacht not far away. It was a dozen meters smaller than the yacht they were standing on, but it was also very beautiful. Sir, that yacht also costs $15 million, and the functions and performance of the Venus Star are much better than that yacht. But it's unlucky, Del said with emphasis. Americans weren't superstitious. If they were, they'd be like fanatics. Of course, Dell was helping Chun Zhao bargain. Dell and Steven could both tell that Chun Zhao was very satisfied with the yacht. How about you wait a moment? I'll report to the headquarters and ask if we can continue the discount. Go ahead. The salesman hurriedly called his superior and told him about the situation here. If he could sell it for a high price, of course he wouldn't sell it for a high price. However, if he couldn't lower the price, he might lose this customer. According to the yacht salesman's commission, he could get at least $100,000 for each yacht. This was the reason why he was so eager and attentive. Yachts were luxury goods, so the salesman's commission was also very high. This salesman didn't do business for half a year, but once he did, he could eat for half a year. After communicating with his superior for more than 10 minutes, the salesman's face was filled with joy. Sir, the headquarters already replied. The lowest price for this yacht can be lowered to $18 million. Only 10%. That's too low, Dell said unhappily. Looks like Seagate isn't a big company. They're too narrow-minded. Steven shook his head. I wanted to order a super yacht from Seagate, but it looks like I'll have to find another company. The salesman's eyes lit up. Mr. Steven, you want to order a super yacht? What was a super yacht? Only those that were over $100 million and over 100 meters long were called super yachts. The salesman definitely wouldn't doubt Steven's wealth. What? Are you interested in this order? Unfortunately, I'm not satisfied with Seagate. Steven shook his head. Of course, who wouldn't be interested in such a super yacht order? Although Seagate was a big company, it had only built 2 super yachts in 20 years of operation. As long as the salesman got this order, he would definitely get a 3% commission. If he got this order, he wouldn't have to worry about food or clothing for the rest of his life. Chapter 733. In the Coastal Rescue Team. Polly, you seem to be very happy today. Polly was also a member of the Coastal Rescue Team, and she was rather flashy. Of course, she was also a goddess in the team. She also had a rich boyfriend. She always liked to compare things with Feilai. Chun Zhao and Feilai's house was built by themselves and cost more than $1 million. Polly's boyfriend's villa was more than $3 million. Chun Zhao gave Feilai a sports car worth more than $200,000. Polly took a car worth more than $300,000 from her boyfriend. Of course, she liked to compare her boyfriend the most. Today, Polly's outfit was rather eye-catching. Everyone guessed that her boyfriend must have bought something for her today, which was why he was so high-profile. Corian bought me a yacht. It's named after me. Polly glanced at Feilai from the corner of her eyes. Everyone's interest was piqued. The Coastal Rescue Team members often came into contact with yachts. Most of them worked on the water, so they had some knowledge about yachts. Moreover, although yachts were expensive, they were a common form of water transportation in America. Cheap yachts could be bought for $10,000 or $20,000. Bellico Company's 2017 classic B-1 Warhead. Polly said. B-1 Warhead seems to be a limited edition, right? The cheapest configuration costs $980,000, everyone said at once. Polly is 31 meters long. I'm planning to have a party on the yacht this weekend. Do you want to come? Polly looked at Feilai. Feilai, come too? Thanks, I'll see. Feilai knew what Polly was thinking. She was not snobbish or competitive. Women all had their own pride. Feilai did too. Polly was clearly provoking her. Oh, Feilai, isn't your boyfriend pretty rich? How come he didn't buy a yacht? Polly asked. He's considering, Feilai replied calmly. Corleone and the people from Bellico Company are very familiar with each other. Do you want to ask him to introduce you? Although you might not be able to buy the limited edition B-1 Warhead, it is slightly cheaper. You can still buy the non-limited model. Moreover, if an acquaintance introduces you, you might get a discount. Thanks, but no need. Just then, Feilai's phone rang. Oh, it's your boyfriend. Bao Li saw the caller ID. Everyone knew Bao Li's hostility towards Feilai. They couldn't help but look at Feilai. Hey, Chun. Why are you calling me now? Feilai, I'm interested in a yacht, so I want to show it to you first. Take the video call. He didn't know what kind of ears Bao Li had, but she could actually hear their conversation, Let us see what kind of yacht it is. Speaking of yachts, I am very familiar with them. Recently, Corleone has been bringing me to various yacht exhibitions, Bowley said loudly. Phalai, turn on the video. We also want to see what kind of yacht Chin bought. The video link was up, but Stephen's face squeezed into the screen. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. How could it be Stephen? No one in America was unfamiliar with this old man. He was a great director who had been praised as a god. Hi, Phalai, fuck. I'm talking to Phalai. What are you doing here? Stephen's head was pushed away. Everyone was surprised. Phalai knew Stephen? Moreover, they seemed to be very familiar with each other. Fuck. Phalai and I are friends too. I want her to act in my next movie. Don't even think about it. Phalai won't agree. You don't want to be a star. But maybe Phalai does. Hearing Stephen and Chun Zhao's conversation, everyone was surprised. Were they that familiar with Stephen? Stephen wanted to ask Chun Zhao and Phalai to act in his movie? Almost everyone thought that they would definitely become famous if they acted in Stephen's movie. However, the young couple seemed to be dismissive of it. Phalai, are you close to Mr. Stephen? Stephen is Chen's friend, Phalai said calmly. He often visits. The men and women of the coastal rescue team were all envious. It seemed that if Phalai wanted to become famous, she could act in Stephen's movie at any time. Bao Li's gaze toward Phalai was filled with jealousy. Phalai, this yacht was originally called Venus, but I'm going to change its name to Phalai. What do you think? Chun Zhao turned the camera to the yacht. Everyone's eyes widened when they saw the yacht. It had beautiful lines and a huge body. It was like a meticulously carved gem. There was only one thought in everyone's mind. Noble and elegant, just like a noble. The entire yacht attracted everyone's attention. They couldn't look away. Phalai, what do you think of this yacht? Stephen said, I wanted to give it to Chun, but he said that he would pay for it himself. I had no choice but to give you a helicopter. Everyone gasped. Just how close was Stephen to their family? He actually wanted to give them such a luxurious yacht. How much would it cost? Bao Li's gaze toward Phalai was filled with jealousy. Compared to the yacht that her boyfriend had bought and named after her, it was like comparing a small dinghy to a luxury cruise ship. Also, Stephen wanted to spend money to send it to her, but her boyfriend refused. That was Mr. Stephen. Now that he couldn't give her a yacht, he wanted to give her a helicopter. Putting everything else aside, just their relationship with Stephen was enough to make everyone jealous. Chen, I really like this yacht, Phalai said. If you like it, you can buy it. Just then, the salesman walked over. Sir, would you like to pay in installments or something else? Chen, do you have enough cash? Full payment. I hate loans. Okay, this way, please. Everyone was speechless. Just how rich was Phalai's boyfriend? He could take out tens of millions of dollars so easily. While Chun Zhao was paying, Stephen started chatting with Phalai again. Phalai, let me tell you something. Chun secretly went to act in a movie while you weren't here. Yafin's acting as a couple with him. But don't worry, I also have a role in the movie. Do you want to join in the fun? The director is also Chen's friend. You can act as my daughter. Depends. I'm busy with work. If I have time, I'll try. Everyone felt that Phalai's boyfriend's connections in Hollywood were too powerful. Chapter 734. Outside Angel Beach. A huge yacht was parked in the ocean. Phalai, look. A teammate handed her a pair of binoculars. Phalai took the binoculars and looked. She could vaguely see Chun Zhao on the yacht. Chun Zhao was standing on the yacht, waving at Phalai. What Chun Zhao liked about the yacht was that it was spacious and easy to operate. Usually, a large yacht needed a team of at least 10 people to operate and drive it. However, this yacht didn't need that many people. If it was just simple driving, one person could do it. The yacht had its own smart driving function. It also had a superconducting sonar that would remind the people on the yacht if there were reefs or the possibility of being stranded on the planned route. If it was a complete operation, around 5 people were enough. The so-called complete operation referred to doing some operations at the same time. For example, the engine room had to be guarded. Normally, it wasn't needed. Chen Zhao didn't plan on hiring crew members either. He had more than 1,000 underlings at home. He could just pick some for training. When it was necessary, he could just let them be in charge of the setup and operation. Excited, Fei Lai drove the motorboat toward the yacht on the open sea. The other coastal rescue team members were all envious. The yacht was too beautiful. Unfortunately, it was destined to be a toy for the rich. Even Bao Li could only be jealous. Unless her boyfriend took out all his money, he definitely wouldn't be able to buy such a yacht. However, Fei Lai's boyfriend could easily take out all his money. Chen Zhao pulled Fei Lai onto the yacht. For the first time, he held Fei Lai's hand like a gentleman. "Welcome, mistress of Fei Lai." Fei Lai was already kissing Chen Zhao excitedly. Any woman would find it hard to reject such a gift. The yacht was too perfect. It was like a mansion on the sea. Of course, because of Chen Zhao's performance, she was ruthlessly suppressed in front of Bao Li. "Chen, how much is this yacht?" Fei Lai asked. "It costs $45 million. The original price was $60 million, but with Steven's help, I bought it for $12 million. Fei Lai also felt that it was very worth it to buy a yacht like this for $12 million. As the owner, Chen Zhao and Fei Lai were obviously the first two passengers. When the yacht arrived at Mirror Lake, all the pets in the house rushed out. The only downside was that the boat was too big. The dock at home couldn't accommodate it. Moreover, the water level near the shore was not deep. If they got too close, they might be stranded. Therefore, they could only park the yacht on the lake and take a small boat back to the shore. This may also be a fly in the ointment, unless the pier is rebuilt and the deepwater line is deepened. However, this did not stop the pets' enthusiasm. They were full of curiosity about this big guy. Samuel even announced that the Fei Lai would become his chariot. Chen Zhao kicked Samuel into the water to wake him up. To Chen Zhao, this was the most relaxing and enjoyable life. Of course, he would have been happier without Yura and Cheryl, the two light bulbs. Yura and Cheryl had completely turned Fei Lai into a diving platform. Usually, jumping into the lake from the shore was not enough to satisfy them. Now, they needed a certain height to satisfy their needs. In a rundown apartment, Cindy was curled up on the bed. Charlotte's condition was also very bad. Her two eye sockets looked as if she had been suffering from insomnia for many days. "Cindy, how do you feel?" "Very bad." Cindy's face was pale. "That thing might be in a nearby city. I can feel it." Cindy could feel it, and so could Charlotte. That thing was, of course, the source of the fallen. Of course, the source of the fallen was added to his head by someone else. At least, he didn't think so. He had always called himself God. However, with Cindy and Charlotte's guesses, even if he was really God, he was definitely an evil one. Charlotte and Cindy's thoughts had been twisted by that thing. Then, Chen Zhao defeated that thing. After that, Charlotte and Cindy broke free from that thing's control. However, it was not absolute. Moreover, they were no longer who they were in the past. Their thoughts were like steel bars that had been forcefully twisted by a hand. Even though the hand let go of the steel bars, their thoughts were completely twisted. At least, in their minds, they did not feel guilty or remorseful for what they had done. The source of the fallen had temporarily lost control over them, but that voice still lingered in their minds. It kept ringing in their ears, making it hard for them to sleep at night. It was very painful. That voice, or rather, the source of the fallen, had been trying to reconnect with them. However, they were no longer the weak witches of the past. They had all obtained great power from the source of the fallen. They would not be easily controlled by the source of the fallen again. However, as long as they did not get rid of that voice in their minds, they would never be able to calm down. The closer they were to the source of the fallen, the greater their influence would be. If they ever met again, Charlotte and Cindy believed that they would be under his control again. "He doesn't seem to be getting close anymore. That thing doesn't dare to get close to LA," Charlotte said. It was because of this that they hid in Los Angeles. Because they knew that person was in LA. The source of the fallen also knew this, so it did not dare to get close to LA. The closer it was to that person, the more dangerous it would be. However, it could also prevent them from being controlled by the source of the fallen. That person was probably the source of the fallen's only nemesis. I can't take it anymore, Cindy cried, grabbing her hair. If this continues, I'll go crazy. In that case, there's only one way. Charlotte's eyes flashed. What way? Let that man and the source of the fallen perish together, Charlotte said. Is that feasible? Do we have any other way? Then what do we do? Call him? First, we have to figure out which city the source of the fallen is hiding in, Charlotte said. But we can only roughly sense his distance. We can't confirm his location. Chapter 735. Yura, your brother has been sitting on the stone ball in the middle of the lake all day. He kept yelling, change. Is he okay? Of course. My brother is so powerful. At the moment, Chun Zhao was practicing the simplified version of Doppelganger. This spell was similar to Moore's clone spell, but there was a fundamental difference. Moore's clone spell had no abilities, could only last for a short time. For example, in Lewis's house, it could only be used as a consumable for a suicidal attack. According to Old Turtle, this kind of external incarnation could be retracted and released at will, and could be used at will. At the same time, it could be switched instantly. In other words, the clone could instantly become the main body, and the main body could instantly become a clone. This way, they could avoid many dangers and attacks. Of course, it wasn't all good. There were disadvantages too. As long as Moore had enough magic, he could keep creating clones. But Chun Zhao could only use his clone once a day. Chun Zhao always felt that he was so close. So close. But why couldn't he come out? Felt like a sneeze. He just felt like he was almost there. But he just couldn't come out. How annoying was that? Suddenly, Chun Zhao opened his eyes and looked at the other side. Charlotte. Charlotte was startled. Even though she was hiding on the other side of Mirror Lake, she thought that she'd hidden well enough. But Chun Zhao still found her. Scary. She really couldn't get close to this guy. Charlotte had been controlled before and her mind was twisted now. But her memories were still there. She knew how scary Chun Zhao was. If she didn't have to, she wouldn't come to find Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao jumped into the lake and charged toward Charlotte. So fast. Charlotte saw Chun Zhao charging toward her like a torpedo. Chun Zhao had already swum to the shore. Just then, Cindy appeared. Chun Zhao suddenly realized that the water around him was out of control. Pulled him into the water. He was too familiar with this feeling. Only Cindy had this spell. Chen, can we have a good talk? Charlotte looked at Chun Zhao. She and Cindy were only 10 meters away from Chun Zhao. This distance wasn't safe enough. Charlotte, hurry up. I can't control him for long, Cindy urged. Cindy was also very nervous. She had fought against Chun Zhao before. She still remembered that night. She'd used up all her magic but still couldn't kill Chun Zhao. One could imagine how terrifying Chun Zhao was. Moreover, this was Chun Zhao's territory, so she knew that she definitely couldn't beat him. The only thing she could do now was to buy time. You call this a good talk? Chun Zhao sneered. We didn't mean to be enemies with you, Charlotte explained. After I capture you, I will have a good talk with you. You can't do anything to us now. You said I can't do anything to you? Chun Zhao's head heated up. A strange feeling came from the bottom of his heart. That feeling came. Doppelganger technique. Change. The next moment, Chun Zhao split into two. One was his original body, and the other was his clone. The doppelganger split into three again. Chun Zhao clearly felt his magic power plummet. The speed of his descent was very fast. This kind of avatar could not be maintained for long. Chun Zhao had thought that his magic power was high enough, but now it seemed that it was far from the time to be proud. Charlotte and Cindy were dumbfounded. Chun Zhao instantly broke free from Cindy's control. Chun Zhao and the two avatars jumped fiercely. They crossed the distance of 10 meters and landed in front of Charlotte and Cindy. Charlotte and Cindy's faces reddened instantly. Chun Zhao looked left and right. Fuck you, old turtle. What kind of avatar was this? Why were there two naked bodies? The two avatars felt Chun Zhao's embarrassment and covered their nether regions at the same time. Charlotte stomped. A patch of spikes suddenly rose from the ground and attacked Chun Zhao and the two avatars. The two of you stop being so wishy-washy. Beat them up. Chun Zhao kicked the butt of one of the avatars. The avatar could not use magic, but its combat ability was not low. The spikes hit the two avatars, but they were not damaged at all. The two avatars charged at Charlotte and Cindy like raging bulls. Charlotte raised her arms and said, "Earth and stone rampart." A stone wall appeared in front of Charlotte and Cindy. The two avatars rammed their heads against it. Bang, bang, the stone wall actually blocked the charge of the two avatars. The avatars could not use magic, but they had also inherited the mouth of gluttony and the pristine eyeball. Their strength was close to the real bodies. This collision was like a truck, but they actually could not break through the stone wall. You two idiots, can't you go around it? Why do you have to ram your heads against the wall? Chun Zhao realized that the two avatars were very stupid. If it wasn't for his command, then they would have been two idiots. The two avatars went around the stone wall from the left and right, but what awaited them was a pair of huge stone fists. The two avatars were sent flying. As expected, the avatars' reactions were too weak. They could not even compare to Princess and the others, let alone the real body. Of course, it could also be that there was a problem with his control. Chun Zhao felt like he was playing a game and controlling a character. It was too difficult to control two avatars at the same time. Next time, he would use one less and try with only one avatar. However, the two avatars stalled Charlotte and Cindy, which allowed Chun Zhao to attack directly. The dark serum had been waiting for a long time. The moment the two doppelgangers were sent flying, the dark serum rushed towards Charlotte and Cindy. However, the moment the dark serum enveloped the two girls, they suddenly turned into liquid and dissipated. They already knew that Chun Zhao could control the shadow-like black liquid, so they had been guarding against this move. As expected, their worries were not unfounded. But the next moment, just when they thought they had escaped Chun Zhao's sneak attack, the vines on the ground suddenly bound their feet and hung them in the air. The two were dumbfounded. How many spells did Chun Zhao know? They realized that every time they saw Chun Zhao, he would reveal more trump cards. This time he had cloning and nature spells. But was this all he had? They were not sure. The two girls tried to struggle but realized that they could not break free. The vines were much stronger and tougher than they had imagined. Chapter 736. Chun Zhao could have a good chat now. But Charlotte and Cindy weren't so calm. Their postures weren't right and they'd been thrown onto the tree. Now that they were facing two naked men, how were they supposed to talk? As the saying went, people would get used to it after being perverted for a long time. For example, Chun Zhao's lower body had been exposed earlier, but now he was used to it. It was fine even if the wind blew. Everyone's time is limited. Let's make it short. Chun Zhao looked at Charlotte and Cindy. You guys definitely don't want me to do anything immoral, right? Chun, I told you, we're not here to be your enemy. It's too late for that. We've been emphasizing that we're not enemies, Charlotte said gloomily. Charlotte said gloomily. She had said it many times. But Chun Zhao didn't even give her time to explain. He'd barged in right away, and he'd used such a perverted spell. Really? Did you talk about it? We're here to give you a piece of information, Charlotte said. You're giving me information? Could it be that you've dug a trap for me to jump into? This concerns the safety of all of LA. Wait, did you get something wrong? What does the safety of LA have to do with me? But your friends are all in LA, right? Think about it. If something like what happened in New York happens in LA, what will happen? I'll tell my friends first, Chun Zhao said. Charlotte and Cindy were speechless. Can you be so irresponsible? Why did you go against the source of the fallen last time? I think he sent Cindy to deal with me first. All right. Then do you think you'll be able to escape this time? Charlotte stared at Chun Zhao. You've seen how scary he is. If you didn't play tricks last time, you probably wouldn't have been able to defeat him. Once he recovers, do you still have the confidence to defeat him? To be honest, you just want me to stand up for him and fight him to the death. Then you can reap the benefits. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. If that's what you're planning, then don't say anything. Let's be more direct. Do you want to skin me alive or pour mercury into your brains? Chun, isn't it better to get rid of the source of the fallen before it recovers? Why do you have to wait until it's too late? People always have a fluke mentality. Maybe he's afraid of me. You are a coward. Do you have to say it so calmly? Also, I'm really looking forward to him coming to my territory to find me. Chen Zhao grinned. This isn't New York. If he really came here to find me, I'd be a little excited. Charlotte and Cindy were speechless. A moment ago, they thought that Chen Zhao was scared. But now, Chen Zhao's eyes were shining. How was that cowardice? It was clearly excitement and agitation. Did he really think that he could defeat the source of the fallen here? After all, it was impossible for the same technique to be effective against the fallen source. You'll regret this. Charlotte coldly said, We know the source of the fallen better than you do, and this time, he definitely won't come alone. Tell me, what abilities does he have? Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Chen Zhao had always believed that his ancestors' words were the truth. He wouldn't be arrogant enough to think that he could win for sure. Charlotte and Cindy were silent for a while. Charlotte asked, If we tell you, will you let us go? Absolutely, Chen Zhao said, patting his chest. I'm a trustworthy person. We don't know the source of the fallen's origin either, but through our contact, we found that he can control the weather and bewitch and distort human minds. I know all that. Speaking of his abilities, there's something I don't know. He can stimulate a person's magical potential, but it's very risky. Those who can persevere will obtain brand new elemental spells. If they can't, they'll explode. In fact, not only Cindy and I were controlled that day, but a dozen other witches were also controlled. But only Cindy and I succeeded. You saw it too. I obtained the power of earth elemental magic, while Cindy obtained the power of water elemental magic. Also, the type and magic type of this power are all uncertain. It's completely random. Charlotte said, if he attacks this time, he definitely won't come to you alone for revenge. It's very likely that he will lead an elemental magic legion. As for the abilities of his main body, you've seen it. Countless tentacles, an almost immeasurable number, and a powerful self-healing ability. You won't be able to take advantage of him in melee combat. Chen Zhao thought for a moment. One last question. Why did you betray that planet? If the source of the fallen knows that you named him planet, he'll probably come for revenge at all costs, Charlotte said. Cindy looked at Chen Zhao. He seems to know already. He can feel the strong emotional fluctuations in my brain. I can feel his anger. He'll definitely come for you. Chen Zhao was speechless. He's lived for so many years. Why is his mentality so weak? Charlotte and Cindy were speechless. You're the one who provoked him again and again, right? You even gave him such a bad nickname. How bad is your taste? Okay, back to the topic. Tell me why you want to deal with him. Ever since you injured him, his power weakened and he lost control over us. We don't want to be controlled by him anymore. As you Chinese say, where there's oppression, there's resistance. That's what our great man said. Don't use such great words on the two of you. You're just dogs biting each other. Charlotte didn't want to continue arguing with Chen Zhao on this topic. No matter what, we have the same goal. We have the same enemy. You can still communicate with him? Chen Zhao asked. If our emotions are strong, he will be able to sense it. Chen Zhao thought for a moment and said, Then help me pass a message to him. What message? If he wants to become Braised Lion's Head, just come and find me here. He was lucky to escape last time, but this time, there's no way out. Chapter 737. Charlotte and Cindy, who had been hung upside down, were put back on the ground. See, I'm actually very easy to talk to. Charlotte and Cindy didn't say anything. Easy to talk to? I'll just laugh at you. You'll fight at the slightest disagreement. As the saying went, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That monster. No, the Fallen's power was indeed impressive. Chun Zhao's words were light, but he wasn't really confident. That was a real monster. Chun Zhao had to do his best now. He had to recruit comrades, especially people like Charlotte and Cindy, who would never reconcile with the Fallen. As for those brats from the supernatural organization, apart from Gaia, none of them had any fighting power. Calling them over was like sending them to their deaths. So, Chun Zhao wouldn't join any clubs anymore. He'd thought that the supernatural organization would have some use. But up until now, he'd been the one doing all the work. In the end, he still had to rely on himself. How long do you think that monster? No, the Fallen will take to reach LA? Less than a month. Are you saying that it's possible within this month or closer to this month? Chun Zhao asked. The two were not the same concept. If it was possible to leave Los Angeles in the next month, Chun Zhao wouldn't even dare to take a single step out of LA. But if it was closer to a month, Chun Zhao could make more preparations. The Fallen hasn't recovered from its injuries, Charlotte said. It won't come so soon. Plus, it needs time to control enough witches. I think it'll keep searching in the cities around LA, so it should be around a month, but I can't guarantee the exact time. A month was enough for him to turn his house into a tiger's den. Give me your contact number. Charlotte hesitated for a moment, but still gave them a phone number, and then the two women left. Charlotte, are you really going to stay here and die? Cindy's expression was serious. I was just lying. We'll stay. Once the Fallen gets close, we'll be controlled. While we still have time, let's pack up and leave immediately. The two hurried back to their house. After packing, they left in a hurry. However, at this moment, two strangers appeared in front of them and blocked their way. You two. Where are you going? Who are you? What are you going to do? Both Charlotte and Cindy were ready to fight. You can go wherever you want. However, we will follow you. Our guild leader has given us an order. Wherever you go, we will follow. West and Engelit appeared in front of Charlotte and Cindy. Although the two of them were not good at fighting, one of them was as cunning as a fox, while the other ran as fast as a rabbit. Chun Zhao didn't need them to fight. He just needed them to keep up. Who is your guild leader? Chun? Charlotte asked suspiciously. To be able to find them and prevent them from escaping Los Angeles. Other than Chun Zhao, they couldn't think of anyone else. The president said that if you dare to take even half a step out of Los Angeles, he'll throw you into the water to feed the fish. In addition, there are at least 5 surveillance points here. Your every move is under our control. West said, you won't be able to escape, so please cooperate with our president. Charlotte and Cindy's expressions darkened. They picked up their luggage and went back into the house. West, do we have surveillance points here? Are you out of your mind? The guild leader told us to only monitor them and not to fight them. This means that they're definitely stronger than us. If we don't fool them now, are you really going to fight them? As expected of a sly old fox, Engelit glanced at West. I wonder who these two women are. They're probably witches from other places. When Charlotte and Cindy returned to the house, they both looked very worried. They'd wanted to trick Chun Zhao into fighting the source of corruption. In the end, not only did they fail, but they'd also gotten themselves into trouble. Right now, they were unable to leave Los Angeles. If the source of depravity came to Los Angeles, they would be killed. Once the source of corruption came to Los Angeles, they would definitely become the source of corruption slaves again. Charlotte, what do we do now? Think of a way to escape, Charlotte said. Meeting. Chun Zhao sent a message in the Supernatural Organization's group chat. President, Engelit and I are monitoring those two women, West replied. We can't go back to the meeting. No need. It's an online meeting, Chun Zhao said. First, I have an announcement. Gaia and I will be leaving for a few days. During this time, West, you'll temporarily take on the president's duties and obligations. Wait for us to come back. Huh? President, Where are you and Gaia going? You guys aren't going out for a rendezvous, are you? Morid blurted out. Anger, Gaia replied. If anyone wants to die, you can tell me in advance. I'll arrange a grand funeral for them. Gaia, sorry. I was wrong. Morid immediately backed down. In the supernatural organization, Gaia was the person that he couldn't offend the most apart from Chun Zhao. On the other hand, Morid had offended the two people he couldn't afford to offend. Some people in the organization have been very lazy recently. After I leave, some people need special care and training. Pamela, I'll leave this to you. Yes, President, Pamela replied. I'll listen to you. West and Elite. Keep a close eye on the two women I want you to monitor. Understood, President. President, where are you and Gaia going? How long? I'm not sure where or when. Also, something big might happen in Los Angeles in the near future. West, if you encounter any problems that you can't solve, call Warrencom. I don't think that group of idiots will just stand by and watch. President, why do I have goosebumps? What's going on? President, you're not running away, are you? Guild leader, please explain yourself. Remember the storm in New York last time? It wasn't a natural disaster. Something caused it, and this thing will come to El Aim soon. Oh, I have a huge grudge against that thing. Chapter 738. It's nothing. He wanted me to work for him, and then I asked him to do a striptease. Then he couldn't take it anymore and wanted to fight me to the death. Don't you think he's stingy? Everyone fell silent. What could they say? They all knew that Chun Zhao had a bad temper and was even more stingy. Moreover, this joke was indeed a bit too much. And then, that person caused a ruckus in New York just because of this? Correction, he's not human. He calls himself a god. Anyway, he's like a monster with many tentacles. Everyone was imagining what a monster with many tentacles would look like. Other than being funny, it doesn't seem like a big deal, West said. I don't think so either. He's mad at me again because of this nickname. Everyone was speechless. Of course, they would fight you to the death if you gave them the nickname of ************. I'll kill as many of them as they come, Jalanash said. I admire your courage. Chun Zhao praised Jalanash's courage. But you might not be able to do it alone. Then let's do it together, West said generously. The supernatural organization isn't weak either. After experiencing the third night awakening incident at Lewis's manor last time, the people from the supernatural organization seemed to be overflowing with confidence. They felt that even if it was the end of the world, they were confident that they could deal with it. He wiped out the Witch Society in New York and brought the Sorcerer Society with him. West, what are the Witch Society and Sorcerer Society? Gaia asked. The Witch Society is 100 times stronger than the supernatural organization, West said simply. West stated simply, the Wizard Union is 50 times stronger than the supernatural organization. Everyone was speechless as they listened to Chun Zhao's description. It felt like he was just a jokester with a funny personality. Why did the scene suddenly change? How was he a jokester? He was a super scary monster. President, my grandmother is sick and about to die, Moore said. I want to go home to see her one last time. Do you believe that I will go to your grandmother's house and help her send her to her afterlife? President, he dared to call himself God and was able to destroy the Witch Society and the Sorcerer Society. He's a ruthless character. There's no need for you to confront him head-on. You just need to prepare for the association's work before I return. You guys don't have to be afraid. The guild leader once beat that monster away. Alyssa's words finally gave the members of the association who had already lost confidence a shot in the arm. The last time I fought with him, I also used some dirty tricks to win. Everyone couldn't help but recall that when Chun Zhao fought against Matriarch, he also seemed to have used dirty tricks. They had to admit that their president was not only bad-tempered, but also despicable. Chun, what's going on? The treasure hunt will be brought forward, Chun Zhao said. Get ready. We'll leave tomorrow. Okay. Gaia already knew from the group chat that the situation this time was very serious. Chun, I'll help you. No need. I can handle it myself, Chun Zhao rejected directly. The situation this time was indeed very serious. Chun Zhao couldn't ask Gaia to help him. After all, she had a son to take care of. If the source of the fallen came, all of Los Angeles would be in danger. Chun Zhao knew that he didn't have much hope of finding the treasure. Even if he really found the Sun King Golden Chalice, it probably wouldn't be suitable for him. However, as long as there was a chance to increase his power, Chun Zhao was willing to try. After discussing with Gaia, Chun Zhao hung up. In the evening, Fei Lai returned. Darling. Chun Zhao walked behind Fei Lai, who was lying on the sofa, and gave her a massage. Are you going out? Fei Lai keenly sensed Chun Zhao's attitude. Every time Chun Zhao was going out, she would come over and fawn over him. Yes. Another day? No, maybe more than one day. I'm going out to sea with Gaia for a few days. You? With Gaia? Fei Lai didn't suspect that Chun Zhao had any special relationship with Gaia. Gaia definitely wasn't Chun Zhao's type. She was just surprised that Chun Zhao and Gaia would go out to do something. Last time at Lewis's house, she already knew that Gaia was also a member of the supernatural organization. I'm going out to sea to find something. Maybe I'll make a fortune. Chun, I don't care how rich you are. I just hope that you can come back safely. If you can promise that you'll come back safely, I'll let you go. I promise that I'll come back safely. Chun Zhao nodded solemnly. Chun Zhao didn't have many skills, but his life-saving skills were top-notch. Moreover, the simplified version of body double that he'd learned today was also a life-saving technique. For the next few days, drive the RV to and from work. Bring Princess and the others with you. Okay. Fei Lai knew that every time Chun Zhao went out, he would ask her to bring Princess and the others. It wasn't to take care of them, but for them to protect themselves. The next day, after Fei Lai left, Gaia came. Chun, where did you get that yacht? It's mine. I just bought it, Chun Zhao said. Fuck, how much is it? It's discounted. If it's the original price, I can't afford it either, Chun Zhao said. We're going out on this yacht. Are you sure you can drive it that far? This yacht can sail 3,000 nautical miles with a full load of fuel, Chun Zhao said. There was something that Chun Zhao didn't mention. In order to deal with this unexpected situation, he'd also stored a large amount of fuel in his spatial ring. Fei Lai's fuel capacity was 4,000 gallons, which was around 16 tons. The fuel capacity was 3 or 4 times that of a regular yacht. Because the engine was the latest design, not only was it powerful, but the hull was also made of superlight materials. Thus, the fuel consumption was half that of a regular yacht. Naturally, the voyage would be even longer. There was also the 500 tons of fuel in Chun Zhao's spatial ring. Thus, Chun Zhao wasn't afraid of breaking down halfway. Are we going now? I can't wait to board this yacht. Wait, there's a crew. Huh? There's someone else who's going treasure hunting with us? Just then, a group of short underlings ran out of Chun Zhao's house. Gaia was shocked. Thinking that it was a monster, she immediately got into an attack stance. Don't be afraid. They're underlings. They're my servants. Huh. They're not dangerous, Chun Zhao said. It's too troublesome for just the two of us on such a big boat, so we're bringing them. Not only can they serve us on the way, but they can also lead the way when necessary. We don't have to take the risk ourselves. Chun Zhao looked at the underlings and then at Chun Zhao. Was it really good to ask them to die right in front of them? Chapter 739. Master, let me go if there's danger. No, let me go. I'm the strongest underling. Let me go. I've read all the adventure books. Gaia was speechless. Why aren't you guys reacting right? Shouldn't you be rebelling against this tyrant? Why are your eyes shining? It's like you're not going to die, but to enjoy. Whatever. None of the underlings in Chun Zhao's house are normal. Gaia didn't think too much about it. After moving all the necessary items onto the ship, Phalai officially set sail. Gaia realized that she didn't have to worry about anything after boarding the ship. The underlings took care of everything. If Gaia said something, she would definitely be stared at unhappily. Chen, what's wrong with the underlings? They're unhappy that I'm helping them? They're born to serve, Chun Zhao said. If you can find something for them to do, they'll really like you. Then he yelled, someone get some wine for me and Gaia. You're right. Two underlings immediately appeared before them. One carried an ice bucket filled with ice cubes and chilled beer. The other held a cup. By now, Phalai had already left the sea. The two of them were enjoying the sea breeze, drinking beer and chatting. This kind of life was too comfortable. Even if they didn't find any treasure, Gaia felt that this trip was worth it. Chin, where are we going now? In the 175th entry of the nautical diary, I used the last of my time to go all the way south, carrying out the last journey of my life. I passed through the cold sea and arrived at an island that was spring all year round. At that time, European trade was mainly conducted in the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, and the Indian Ocean. If the Atlantic Ocean went all the way south, then it was possible to enter the Arctic Ocean from the North Atlantic Ocean, then through the Bering Strait and the Bering Sea into the Pacific Ocean. No specific location. Gaia looked at Chun Zhao. The Pacific Ocean was the largest ocean on Earth. Without accurate coordinates, it was almost impossible to find it. According to the voyage diary, this is the last journey of his life. Then, this person shouldn't have long to live, and he had to hide his treasures in his last moments. Therefore, the duration of this journey wouldn't be less than 3 years, and it wouldn't be shorter than that. After all, to hide the treasures, he definitely wouldn't just randomly throw them on an island. Since the voyage diary still exists, it means that he returned to Europe alive in the end. After a pause, Chun Zhao continued, also, he said that he found an island where it's spring all year round. That means that he stayed on the island for at least a year. Otherwise, how would he know that it's spring all year round? After Chun Zhao got the translation, he didn't stay idle. He studied it whenever he had time. During this period, he also conducted a lot of geographical research and even touched upon history. Based on the climate of the Pacific Ocean, the most likely island is the Hawaiian Islands. I saw an abyss surrounded by thousand-eyed demons. My crew and I came to the abyss. I stared at it, and there seemed to be a voice inside inviting me. I rejected the voice. I asked him to guard my treasure until my descendants come here to find it. Chun Zhao took out the translation of the diary and continued. I was looking for a suitable place to hide my treasure on the island. I saw an abyss filled with thousand-eyed demons. My crew and I came to the abyss. In the Hawaiian Islands, there is a kind of plant called Hairy Island Silversword. This plant has many flowers that cover the entire plant, making it look like many eyes. Therefore, the thousand-eyed demon he recorded here actually saw Hairy Island Silversword. However, Hairy Island Silversword grows at a higher altitude, and most of them grow on volcanoes. In addition, the abyss he mentioned here, I think it might be a volcanic crater. But with this pirate captain's knowledge, he must know about volcanoes, right? In the Hawaiian Islands, Stir-Roar Island, Chun Zhao said, the entire island is less than 10 square kilometers, but there's a chasm that extends from north to south. This chasm is a low-altitude volcanic crater. In other words, the treasure is hidden on Stir-Roar Island. That's my guess, but I can only be sure after we reach the island, Chun Zhao said. Stir-Roar Island is an uninhabited island. In the Hawaiian Islands, it's one of the few that hasn't been developed. It has always maintained its original landscape and natural environment. Also, there are indigenous people in the Hawaiian Islands. They have some special customs, such as worshipping unknown gods. Are you worried that we'll encounter supernatural powers? Gaia asked. I hope not. Most of the dangers in the natural world are no longer too much of a threat to you and me. But if it's supernatural power, then I can't absolutely guarantee our safety. In addition, this pirate ship captain has a conversation with the abyss. I don't know if it's speculation, deliberately added to increase the sense of mystery, or if it's a real conversation. At noon, they passed through the Channel Islands and officially entered the Pacific Ocean. Just then, Chun Zhao and Gaia realized that another yacht was approaching them. It was a medium-sized yacht. Usually, a medium-sized yacht's range was about this far. If they went any further, they wouldn't have enough fuel to return. Hello? A few girls in bikinis waved at Chun Zhao and Gaia on the yacht. Huh? We can actually meet people here. Chun Zhao was surprised. Don't get close to them. They're pirates. What? Pirates? Pirates in bikinis? Chun Zhao looked at the girls. They didn't look like pirates at all. When I was in the Marine Corps, I once fought against such a maritime criminal group. They specialize in attacking passing yachts and then kidnap them. Then, they ask their accomplices on land to ransom the hostages' families. Because they are far away from land, the police can't do anything about it, Gaia said. Chun Zhao looked at the girls in bikinis. Whatever, let's go. We can't waste time with them. It must be nice to be their captain. Since they've discovered Phalai, they won't let us go easily. It's fine. They can't catch up to us. A speed of 75 knots was enough to kill most ships. Unless they came with a warship, but most warships might not even reach 75 knots. Chapter 740. As soon as Chun Zhao finished speaking, he saw a bikini girl holding an anti-tank rocket launcher. Fuck. These girls are all ruthless. Stop the boat. Stop the boat. Chun Zhao yelled. This was a newly bought boat. If it was damaged, it would hurt for half a year. I'm going to throw these bitches into the sea to feed the sharks. Chun Zhao roared. Gaia rolled her eyes. Leave it to me. Gaia picked up her gun. After all, this treasure hunt was dangerous. So she brought some guns. At the same time, the girls on the other boat were all excited. Sis, it's a big fish. The owner of such a big boat must be really rich. Can we get 50 million this time? This boat is worth more than that. Guret was tall and skinny. His upper body was the same size as his lower body, and he wore a pair of loose casual pants. His hair was short. Her body was very fit and her eyes were cold. Her hands were in her pockets and her gaze was extremely cold. Someone's coming. Guret looked up and her pupils constricted. She would never forget that figure. Gaia Lope. She was the woman who had once slaughtered her team to the point of complete annihilation. Gaia looked up at Guret. She recognized her too. She'd told Chun Zhao before that she'd led a team to attack a similar pirate group. It was Guret's team. In other words, they were meeting enemies now. Prepare for battle. Shooters, get ready and spread out, Guret ordered. On the other side, Gaia also said, that woman is an old acquaintance of mine. Be careful later. She's called Guret, a vicious female pirate. Do you want me to do it? Chun Zhao asked. No. In the past, I could annihilate her entire team. It's even easier now. The two boats slowly docked together. Chun Zhao and Gaia jumped onto Guret's deck. Guret raised her gun and pointed it at Chun Zhao and Gaia. Gaia Lope, we meet again. Yeah, I don't know if it's your bad luck or mine, Gaia said helplessly. Guret looked at Chun Zhao. Is he your current employer? Tell me his name. To be able to own such a beautiful yacht, he must be a billionaire. Luffy, I want to be the pirate king. Gaia covered his eyes. Chun, let's be serious. However, Guret and the others didn't seem to understand this joke. Check Luffy. Since we're in the same line of work, how about we shake hands and pretend this never happened? Chun Zhao looked left and right. When he saw the pretty girl in the cockpit, he waved. Hi, pretty girl. Can I come in and play? Go, you're worth a lot of money compared to me. Don't get hit by stray bullets. Guret didn't object. Chun Zhao entered the cockpit. The woman in the cockpit raised her gun and pointed it at him. Don't move. Chun Zhao walked directly to the rudder. Your boat is so old. The equipment is too outdated. Is this a yacht from the 80s? Chun Zhao waved the rudder. Even the communicator is so old. Is it a radio? Hey, how do you use this? Seeing that Chun Zhao didn't seem scared at all, the female pirate was a bit angry. I told you not to move the rudder. Put your hand down. Chun Zhao looked at a button. What's this button for? Don't touch that button. Put your hand down. The more you say that, the more curious I get. Let me try. Chun Zhao was about to press the button when the female pirate fired. Bang! Then she screamed. The bullet rebounded into her thigh. Chun Zhao glanced at the female pirate on the ground. See, that's not good. On the deck, Gurette and the others heard the gunshots in the cockpit and saw their partner fall. They were all shocked. Gaia moved too. She suddenly pulled out the gun hidden on her back. Gurette's reaction was also extremely fast as he pounced to the side. Bang, bang, bang. Gaia and the female pirate started an intense exchange of gunfire. Chun Zhao was having fun in the cockpit. It wasn't his boat anyway, so he wasn't afraid of breaking it. The female pirate on the ground clutched her thigh and stared at Chun Zhao in pain. Chun Zhao turned around. The female pirate pointed her gun at him again. Raise your hand, or I'll kill you. Chun Zhao waved his index finger. Don't shoot. You'll die. Look at how pretty you are and how good your body is. Even I can't bear to hurt you. Don't hurt yourself either. How about you be a maid on my ship? I'll pay you $3,000 a month. You'll have a much better future than this pirate. There'll be insurance and benefits during holidays. The female pirate felt insulted and fired again. Bang! Ah! Chun Zhao clutched his forehead and wailed in pain. It hurts, it hurts. No matter how many times, it still hurts. This time, the bullet rebounded and hit the female pirate's forehead. She wanted to shoot Chun Zhao in the head, but she was the one who got shot instead. What a pity. Such a beautiful girl. You're such a beauty, but why are you a thief? Chun Zhao suddenly felt like he was very talented. He really wanted to write a poem. Suddenly, a girl fell from the top of the cockpit and landed before Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao squatted down and looked at the girl in his arms. Are you okay? Do you need me to call an ambulance? The girl pointed her gun at Chun Zhao. Her eyes filled with anger. Bang! In the distance, Gaia took some time to shoot her again. The girl's head exploded right in front of Chun Zhao. Looks like I don't need to call an ambulance. Gaia had killed more than half of the people on the pirate ship, but Gaia was completely unharmed. Ignoring the rain of bullets, Chun Zhao went to the deck and stood at the bow, shouting at the sea, I want to become the pirate king. But just then, a strong arm wrapped around Chun Zhao's neck and a gun was pointed at his temple. Gaia Lope, stop right now. The gunshots finally stopped. Gaia hid behind a partition. Gurette held Chun Zhao hostage, his eyes filled with rage. Why was it like this? It was like this twice. Seeing Gaia Lope twice was a huge loss for her. Once again, she'd thought that victory was in her grasp, but Gaia still killed all her people. Come out or I'll kill him. Gaia walked out from behind the partition and looked at Gurette. You're finally willing to come out. Gurette pointed his gun at Gaia. Gaia looked at Chun Zhao. Such a good chance. Aren't you going to resist? How about you two duel? Chun Zhao said, his eyes shining. Chapter 741. Put the gun down. You should just kill him, Gaia said. I'm going back to the boat. You two take your time. Do you really think I don't dare to kill him? Gurette was even more furious. You can try. Gaia, how could you do this to me? I've long suspected that there's something wrong with the company's accounts, but I didn't think that the one who betrayed me would be you. Who's your partner? Hyde? Or Daika? Did you guys want me dead for a long time? I've treated you well. Your salary is the highest in the industry. I didn't think you'd do this to me. Chun Zhao pointed at Gaia in agony. Gaia looked at him calmly. That's right. Hyde gave me a lot of money so you can die now. How much did he give you? Haven't I given you enough money? You know that I have a terminal illness. I need a lot of money for treatment. Your salary is far from enough. I have no choice. Just then, Gurette whispered in Chun Zhao's ear, I'll help you kill her. How much will you give me? Chun Zhao rubbed against Gurette's body. Gurette was annoyed. This bastard Asian was still trying to take advantage of him in this situation. How about this? Were you talking about the price? Gurette didn't understand. Of course, you don't think I'm taking advantage of you, do you? Suddenly, Gurette saw Gaia's mocking gaze. He immediately realized that this guy was playing with him. I'm going to kill you. Wait, didn't we have a deal? Without saying anything, Gurette aimed the gun at Chun Zhao's temple. Bang! Chun Zhao's head tilted and a sharp pain shot through him. Gurette's gun had exploded. The bullet didn't come out of the barrel. By then, Gaia had already raised the gun. Gurette flipped and jumped into the sea. When Gaia rushed over, Gurette was already gone. Chen, are you okay? Gaia looked at Chun Zhao and rubbed his temple. I'm fine. I really can't catch bullets randomly. It hurts. You clearly had many chances to capture her, but you just had to play there. Gaia looked at Chun Zhao in annoyance. This place is at least 1,000 kilometers from the coastline. Now that she's in the sea, there's no way she can survive. Chun Zhao looked at the vast ocean. This kind of person is very tenacious. Forget it. Let's continue our journey if we meet him again. Gaia shook his head. What about this ship? Just blow it up, Gaia replied. When Phalai was far away, the pirate ship was smashed into pieces in a huge explosion. After Phalai was far away, a submarine appeared in the sea. Gradually, the submarine floated up. Gurette climbed onto the submarine and panted on the hull. The hatch of the submarine opened and a few people walked out of the submarine. The leader was a one-eyed man with a big beard. He was dressed like a soldier. Gurette, what happened to you? I met a prey. I thought it was a fat chicken, but it turned out to be a lion. Gurette lay on the hull of the submarine. She did not explain her failure. Gurette had a communicator on her. Even if she fell into the sea, she could quickly find someone to save her. Who are they? I don't know, Gurette said. One of them is an instructor in the Marine Corps. I've met her once. My last team was destroyed by her. This time, she basically killed all my people. The other one should be her boss, but he looks very evil. What do you plan to do now? I suspect they're going towards Sterile Island. It's still far from here. Are you sure they're going that way? The man asked. I roughly estimated their route, Gurette said. From LA to here, then the direction they just went. Based on these 3 linear directions, they're probably going towards Sterile Island. How long have they been gone? The one-eyed man asked. About 20 minutes. We can't let them land on the island, the one-eyed man said coldly. The submarine hurried on its way, but after chasing for a long time, it still could not catch up to Phalai. Damn, did the yacht really only leave for 20 minutes? Why can't I see anything? The yacht is very fast, Gurette said. Fuck, if they land on the island, we'll be in big trouble. Chun, what are you doing? I'm putting on sunscreen. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Gaia looked at Chun Zhao. We didn't say we're on vacation. Don't be so nervous, Chun Zhao said nonchalantly. Just treat this as a vacation. What's wrong with that? He continued putting on sunscreen. The sunlight on the sea was still quite strong. Chun Zhao lay on the deck chair. Chun Zhao lay on the deck chair and enjoyed the afternoon sunlight and salty sea breeze. Gaia did not have much to do, so she lay down to rest too. The two spent the entire afternoon on the trip. By evening, Phalai had reached the waters near the Hawaiian Islands. Zytral is a very small island in the Hawaiian archipelago. There were not many records about Store Island. The only record Chun Zhao could find was that a scientific team had once landed on Store Island. Because it was away from the main Hawaiian island and Store Island's geological structure, the island was almost built by volcanic rocks. Because it was too small, once the volcano erupted, it would be very dangerous for both residents and tourists. Because the area was too small, once the volcano erupted, it would be very dangerous whether it was a resident or a tourist. Therefore, Sturrour Island had never been developed and had always been very primitive. It seemed that very few people went to the island. Even the scientific team rarely came. It seemed that there were very few people on this island. Even the expedition team rarely came to this island. What's wrong? Gaia asked. This area seems a bit strange. What's strange? There are very few fish in the water. Gaia looked at Chun Zhao in confusion. How do you know? Amon is in the water. He told me, Chun Zhao said. Gaia was shocked. She did not expect Chun Zhao to bring Amon. This is a warm water area. The Hawaiian Islands don't have a lot of fishing, so the aquatic products are very rich. There should be a lot of fishing resources here. Store Island seems to be up ahead, right? In the distance, they could already see the outline of Store Island. Isn't that Stur Roar Island ahead? The outline of Stur Roar Island could be seen from afar. Because it was too far away, Store Island was still just a dot. The sky was also starting to darken. Chapter 742. Let's wait until tomorrow. Chun Zhao didn't want to move at night either. If he moved at night, there would be many unpredictable risks. Whether it was for himself or Gaia, Chun Zhao didn't want to increase the risks. Chun Zhao and Gaia ate barbecue on the platform at the top of the boat. Gaia watched enviously as the inferior demons ran around to serve them. Chun, where did these inferior demons come from? Summoning spells, Chun Zhao answered simply. Gaia was a bit disappointed. She only had her bloodline talent, not magic. She'd encountered some spells in the supernatural organization, but she couldn't learn them. It was Chun Zhao's first time gazing at the starry sky in such a peaceful situation on the sea at night. Chun Zhao was never a sentimental person. He would say some mushy things. The things he usually said were when he was flirting with Feilai. Chun Zhao definitely wouldn't say mushy things to anyone in daily life. But right now, Chun Zhao really felt relaxed and carefree. The starry sky was so dazzling. It was unprecedentedly brilliant. As a city dweller, it was rare to experience such a feeling. Even though Mirror Lake was very remote, the environment was still good. But he still couldn't experience such a dazzling starry sky. Is it shocking? Gaia glanced at Chun Zhao. She knew that he was mesmerized by the night sky. When I was in the Marines, I saw a starry sky like this for the first time. I was mesmerized too. Chun Zhao retracted his gaze and looked at the dark sea. I think we have guests. Guests? What guests? In the water. A submarine. I don't know either. I'm not sure if they're friend or foe, but if they get close, I'll have them on attack. Boss, the radar found that boat. Cyclops immediately came to the radar. Where? Anchor 15 nautical miles away from Zytral Island. Did the people on the boat come onto the island? Probably not. The lights are on. Gurette glanced at Cyclops, directly launching the fish. If we send people, there might be casualties again. Did they enter the torpedo range? Cyclops asked. Their submarine was a modified submarine. It had been modified from a scientific research ship to a semi-military one. The lack of weapons was the submarine's weakness. There was only one way to attack underwater: torpedoes. Moreover, they were also equipped with small fish with a range of only 2 kilometers. I need to get closer. Then get close to it and launch the fish. At this moment, the team member who was monitoring the radar suddenly shouted, "Boss, there's something in the water approaching us. What is it? A submarine? Or large fish? There are signs of life. The data from the radar shows that this thing is 60 meters long and weighs more than 300 tons. That's impossible. Even the largest blue whale in the world is no more than 35 meters, and its body length is no more than 250 tons. How could there be a creature that is 60 meters long? Unless it's an emperor cuttlefish, but this is a shallow sea region. Emperor cuttlefish can't possibly withstand such low water pressure. It's not an emperor squid. The radar shows that it's a fish. Is it really a fish? It might be a whale, the team member said uncertainly. Bang, suddenly, the entire submarine shook, and everyone almost lost their balance. Captain, that thing is attacking us. Don't worry, our submarine's outer shell is strong enough. Bang, before Cyclops could finish speaking, another attack came. Captain, the engine has malfunctioned. and the submarine's tail is seriously damaged. Damn, what kind of underwater monster is it? Maybe it will leave after realizing that we're not food. Bang Cyclops really wanted to slap himself. As soon as he finished speaking, the underwater monster attacked the submarine again. Captain, the pressure valve has malfunctioned. Captain, we're sinking. Hurry up and leave the submarine, One-Eyed Dragon said decisively. At this time, he also had to make a choice. The engine had already malfunctioned, and now the pressure valve had malfunctioned as well. Once the submarine sank deeper into the water, they would never be able to come up again. While the water was still more than 10 meters deep, at least they could still escape from the submarine. If they waited until they sank deeper into the water, as soon as they left the submarine's protection, they would immediately be crushed by the water pressure. Some submarines needed crew members to work underwater, so other than the upper hatch, there was also a lower hatch. When working underwater, if the upper hatch was opened, seawater would pour in. The lower hatch, on the other hand, could prevent seawater from pouring in due to the air pressure inside the submarine. The people on the submarine could only escape from the lower hatch. However, some people were a step too late and could not get out of the submarine. As the submarine sank into the deep sea, they would never have the chance to come out again. Cyclops, Gurette, and a few other team members floated to the surface. But now they were at a loss. They did not know what to do next either. They had never faced a situation like this. They were attacked by a huge sea monster for no reason. Now they were trapped in the sea and did not know what to do. Just then, a beam of high beam shone from afar. Gurette and Cyclops covered their eyes and looked in the direction of the beam. They found us. Gurette's expression was very ugly. The yacht slowly approached Gurette and the others. Gaia and Chun Zhao leaned against the railing. Chun Zhao even waved at Gurette enthusiastically. Hello, what a coincidence. We are actually able to meet again in this vast ocean. Do you want to introduce the people beside you to me? Sir, we're a research team, Cyclops said. Our submarine was attacked by a huge monster in the water. Can you help us? A huge monster? My ship's radar detected it too. Look behind you. It seems to be right behind you. Everyone looked back and saw a huge fin appear on the surface of the sea. At the same time, the surrounding water arched up. Everyone was so scared that their faces turned pale. The thing that attacked their submarine just now was this huge monster, right? Save us. Let us get on the boat. That won't do. This giant monster seems to regard you as its prey. If I pull you onto the boat, my yacht will likely become a target. Both Gurette and Cyclops' expressions were very ugly. Also, how do we know that you won't rob our yacht after you get on the boat? I can promise you that won't happen. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.